Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hey.
Adobe Live. I hope you guys are having a great morning. Just to kick things off, I'm here with Jack Watson. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then you can dive in.
Sure, a little bit. Well, I've had a very interesting journey. I think most of you on Adobe Live know me. I'm usually around in the chat moderating, but I'm on the other side today. We're actually going to go back a little bit to my roots.
Nice.
I started out my journey as a medical illustrator, or a medical and scientific illustrator. So we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of maybe that kind of a work day. We're going to be primarily in InDesign. So I know that's going to excite some people in the chat since we don't do a lot of InDesign specific streams, but we are still going to be using some art from Illustrator because that's my home base. But I started out in medical illustration, and then I did some animation. I kind of jumped all over the place, a little bit of UI UX work. But now I'm mostly full-time freelance graphic design, branding type work. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I know we were chatting a little bit beforehand, talking about InDesign and all the crazy things you've been doing in there, and it's really exciting because I feel like I go in these long gaps without working there, and every so often when you jump back in, there's so much new stuff. And I'm excited because you're going to be showing us some new things there, right?
I am, yes. We're going to be taking a look at some of the cool new stuff that's in InDesign, some stuff that particularly if you are in the industry of textbook or basically educational media,
Nice.
You might find yourself needing.
Perfect.
I see Clever in the chat is already
Yeah,
got
let's
some
check
popcorn.
out the chat.
Ready for InDesign. I know you are, Clever. I'm going to need your help today coming up with some witty copy for our project. So.
Nice. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's get into it. So this is my work.
Okay.
If you just want to get to know me, you can find me at jackwatson.design. Jackwatson.design/links is where you can find all my social links. I stream on Twitch every weekend. Speaking of Twitch, many of you are going to recognize this project that we've been working on. This is actually a really old piece that I started in Illustrator, and I thought, well, this is going to be a really good opportunity to kind of repurpose this. Everybody has like old work hanging around, right? And finish it off. So I had this idea a while ago to do an educational piece about ocean acidification. So that's when excess carbon dioxide mixes with seawater, and it creates a problem for all the organisms that kind of live there. So we're going to do an educational piece on that. And we created all these little assets here. I created this whole kind of illustration as kind of the backdrop.
Can we zoom in on that?
Yeah, sure.
There is so much detail in there that we need to respect. Because, wow, wait, is that the pen tool? What are we doing?
No, this is, so you have your Cintiq.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Cintiq. I went through a phase where I was like, I really want to do
Love it.
some I want to push Illustrator and try to do very painterly stuff. So that was kind of this phase of my life. And I just felt bad because this is such a beautiful piece. I never finished it, right? So this seemed like a good opportunity to do that. And then down here I kind of, looks like I have a GPU glitching out a little bit. But I created all these little assets so that we can kind of assemble these and talk about kind of the life cycle that kind of happens as a result of all of this carbon dioxide.
Looks great though.
I also see Fresh Cake in the chat. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. So like I said, we're going to be primarily in InDesign, so I'm just going to hop over there. We got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to keep it moving. You can see over here, one more break in Illustrator. I'm going to try not to be in Illustrator too much. Over here, I made a library, and I just put all of these assets in here. So I just kind of click on one of these, and add it down here.
I'm glad you're using the library. I need to do it more often, honestly.
It's super handy.
It
So
is.
we're going to be jumping into InDesign, and we're also going to be jumping in later to Express. So once I kind of finish this out, I can break up all of these individual pieces, because you can see my lovely layers panel over here, very nicely named. So it's very easy for me to kind of pull these out, and then we can reassemble them to create different graphics later on when we get into Express. So over in InDesign, we're going to make a new document. I'm going to start from scratch. And this is going to be a poster, so it's going to be a print design. And over in my settings, I'm going to go ahead and switch this to inches. I don't know about you, but I don't know the pica equivalent of 24 by 36.
Sorry, I don't know. Chat, do we know what this is? What are these measurements?
Well, picas are actually I believe they're used for typesetting in print. They're like a special unit of measurement for print specifically. I used to have a pica ruler.
Okay.
I should have brought it with.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere at home, but
Oh, that's so good. Good to know.
It's used for like measuring the distance. I think it's used for type, but somebody in the chat probably knows better than me. And then I'm also going to add a bleed. So for those of you who don't know, this is a poster for print, set up for print, CMYK in Illustrator. A bleed is like a little bit of a buffer zone for your design. So when you print it out, you want to have something that prints edge to edge. You don't want to have any kind of like white gaps. It's just going to ensure that when your design prints, it's not gonna have those white gaps.
It's always helpful to have those.
And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything with any of the pages or anything like that. Pro tip, since we're in InDesign, I'll just mention this. Everybody always asks, how do I have my pages so that they aren't spreads?
Okay.
If you uncheck facing pages, that's going to give you individual pages. And you can also then kind of stack them to have like 3 or 4 pages across. So you're talking about making zines.
Yeah, zines.
If you uncheck facing pages, you can set up a zine document.
There we go. Quick tip for zine making right here.
All right, so there's the document. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to check off that facing pages because we're just making a poster today. We don't have a lot of pages to work with. So, like I said, I've got my, my CC library is having some trouble scrolling.
Oh, we got some chat members. We got Nick in the chat, Allison.
Nick Longo.
Hey.
Give me a sec. I'm actually going to close my library panel and reopen it and see if that fixes the problem. I'm actually going to be, I guess I can say this now, I'm actually going to be a TA for one of Nick's sessions at Adobe MAX.
What?
So be sure that you go and check that out. My library panel is not working. Well, that's okay. We can always bring this in, like the artwork itself. Well, let's check. Not that I want to. Top secret folder. Actually, I already have this open. Duh. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide some of these layers. We're going to start with just our ocean floor, and we're going to add our ocean surface. I'm going to export this. I'm going to save this file.
Okay, so we're just making our layers into, I guess, images to bring into...
Yeah, so to get started, I'm going to give my libraries a chance to load. I'm going to just place this Illustrator file that's just the background so we can start to do some typesetting and stuff like that. And then hopefully once we get libraries going, we'll be able to add that stuff in. So I'm going to go to my folder here. We're just going to drag this in.
And is this a JPEG or is this the Illustrator?
This is the Illustrator file. So technically we could, so everything you place in InDesign is going to be placed as a linked asset. Unless you can actually copy vector from Illustrator and paste it in. So like if you had like a very simple shape you wanted to copy over for whatever reason. So this is a linked asset. So if I made any changes to this, and it does look like I need to update this.
That's what I love about the linked factors of Adobe, because you could change it like you were going to say, right, in Illustrator, and it's going to automatically update that in InDesign. And there's a lot of, I mean, I do that with Photoshop a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, with like linked assets moving back and forth between Photoshop, for sure. All right, this is not updating. I'm going to try one more time to bring it in. If it doesn't come in with all of our background elements, it's fine. We'll just move on.
We will figure it out.
There we go. I can see in the preview that it's correct now. All right, so, you know, we'll pull in, we can still pull in all those, like the coral, everything like that, and kind of arrange it how we want it to here. But this is just kind of our background, and everything's going to get put on top of our scene. Oh, no. Where'd you go, InDesign? There we go. So, first feature we're going to talk about in InDesign. This is something that I wish existed in Illustrator. There's now an option in your align. So in Illustrator, you'll know you can align to key objects, you can align to selection, you can align to artboard. In InDesign, you've got a couple more options. You can align to things like the page, the spread. Now you can align to bleed.
Whoa, okay.
So if you've ever had like a piece of artwork and you're like trying to like manually get it in place with like using, you know, guides or something like that, it's a pain. So, you know, if I just have this set to page alignment.
That's useful. You know, I would always just zoom in 1,000 times and then make sure it's there, but yeah, sometimes I'm wrong.
Yeah, so we set it to bleed. We can make sure that now that is going to align. It's going to snap right to our bleed, so we don't have to deal with that, like, is it aligned, is it not aligned, do I have it in the right spot? You know, if you ever kind of played this game of, like, you can see even here, like, I don't know.
Yep, that's me before this stream.
And we're gonna use that hopefully a couple times once we get the rest of our assets in here. But I want to start building this out and start, so I've got some copy because this is going to be an educational poster. Yes, Penny, Jack Watson, and InDesign. So I pulled a bunch of kind of statistics about this topic, and this is generally how I'll start a project like this. Like I said, I used to do, I used to work in the textbook industry, and so we would get what was called an art manuscript, and it would often be something like this. It would be like notes, maybe there would be a few sketches, and they'd be like, this is the information we want to kind of have in this diagram. Can you kind of like include it, and they'd give you kind of a rough
kind of outline of everything.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'd be like an outline of everything they wanted it to cover.
Wow, that's really good.
Sometimes the copy would be set. Sometimes it would be like, well, you had a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
But this is generally what it would be like, and it would also include things like little snippets of like, this is
These
what
equations and
Right.
oh wow, this is
Yeah.
we're in class for sure.
We are in class. So I'm going to include some of this stuff in this poster. I'm going to keep this pretty high level because I also want to do some additional kind of like spot illustration stuff in Express later on. So the focus of this poster is going to be on like how this process works and then like how it affects the ecosystem. So we're going to title it Ocean Acidity because I feel like that's very approachable. And you have to be kind of careful to not make things too, what's the word I'm looking for? Formal? Difficult you want the average person to be able to kind of like,
comprehend it?
yes, understand the poster like at a glance. Like, this is the ocean, I understand.
Wide reach of audience here.
Right, exactly. So we're going to keep the title pretty simple, and I'm just going to type that in.
While you're typing that in, like, you said that typically you're provided all that stuff and it's final. Is there ever moments where you have to kind of generate or
No, right.
think about
Sometimes it is final, but other times it's not. They'll just be like vague notes about like what they might want to include. So it's not always final copy, and it'll say like if it specifically needs to be included or not in a particular format.
So potentially edits down the road.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's go with like 100. We want this to be pretty big. So we are working on a poster today. So typically for like print poster design, like 30 point is going to be like your body copy size. It's pretty large because you have a wider range that people are viewing it from. They may be viewing it from far away, but you don't want it to be so large that like it's comical, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that when you're up close, it's
Ryan in the chat, Day After Tomorrow. It's got a little vibes. Have you watched that movie?
Yes. Okay. I see where you're going. I see where you're going, Ryan. Oh, it looks like our library might be working. Nope. Oh, okay. Or it's going to open things for us. Oh, what's going on with my libraries panel? All right.
Fresh Cake said, came here to learn InDesign, left full-blown scientist. I second that. Yes, we are learning some things.
There we go. All right. So
That's a fun font.
Yes. So I feel like this was a font that was featured on. It might have been on File New with Ryan, but I loved this font because it has that like.
What's that called?
Wave. It's called Aqua. Aqua with a V.
Wow.
RLAQVA.
I love the lowercase a. Like that.
Yeah.
What a dream. It's great.
So the other thing that we kind of talk about is hierarchy, right? So this is going to be the first thing that you kind of see, and then we're going to have maybe some like subheads, and then maybe like body copy. It's going to be like, so we're creating hierarchy on this poster of how people are going to navigate this design, which is a little bit difficult when you're working with an infographic because there's a lot of like eye movement kind of happening. So
yeah, what's that hierarchy to everything? It could be tricky.
All right, so. We're just going to leave it black right now. So my text is going to be 100 points, quite large.
Okay.
And we can honestly probably make it even bigger, but I want to make sure we have space.
Oh, I was going to say you could stack it if you want to go really big. But I don't know if you want to change your design.
Oh, it's not. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone.
Okay.
One idea I had that I thought would be kind of cool, and this might be an example of like excessive, like way too large.
Yeah.
Would be like having it, and this would have been cool if I could get my layers to kind of work. If we had it like fill this whole top space.
Yeah.
And then we could decrease the line spacing and have it kind of like covered by the water. We might be able to do that, but.
I've already got ideas. I don't want to throw ideas out there, but
Do it. And that's why
you know
we're
what
here.
could be kind of cool? What if for the second word it kind of went behind the wave for the Y?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like,
It's a
have it
clipping
behind.
basket. Is that what you? Okay. Yes, I think that would be a great idea.
But I don't know. See, the problem, I need my,
You would need two graphics.
here's what we're going to do. Since we're having trouble with the, I do have this as a separate, I have all this as separate assets in libraries, but for some reason I'm having trouble with my libraries. So I'm going to actually open up the individual file here and just save it out on my desktop. So that we can pull it in.
I think that's, because I think it's going to give a lot of dimension to that poster just by having that little bit of the Y hidden, right? Man, I like that.
We'll just get rid of that and say ocean surface. And then we'll be able to add it right on top. In InDesign. Let's go over here. Let's go to our desktop. Where did you save to? Let's try that one more time. Oh, you know what? It's still saving.
Oh,
That's fine. Okay.
What's that massive vector? All those skills in there, man. Can we do outline mode real quick? That's totally my deal. Outline mode for the win. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a lot of paths.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'm impressed. Good job. That's good.
My goal was to impress you. So.
That's really, I love the way that's stylized.
Thanks.
It looks really good.
All right, so we'll just do this the old school way
Okay.
and pull all these in kind of individually like this. Oh, hello.
Oh, it jumped in that
replaced, yeah,
box.
that's
Okay.
fine. We'll just drag it over here
Yep.
and place it. There we go. And now we can use that align bleed again to get it kind of placed there.
Ooh, it just really like made the store more intense.
There we go.
That's really cool. I love those subtle ideas where it's so simple, but it just changes the whole like dynamic of it by just hiding it a little bit. That's great.
And then we can even go back over here, and if we didn't want to have to deal with like realigning that, I'll just save this file without that in there.
And then it'll remove
and
that
it'll
wave.
remove
Okay.
that. So
yeah.
we won't have the weird double
There's our linked layers,
placement.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it should have updated. No, we'll give it a sec to update.
Nope, we got Steven in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey. All right, let's pull this up a little bit. Oh, wrong layer. You know what's helpful here? Use your layers in InDesign. So I'm gonna lock that layer so I'm not accidentally grabbing it. And we'll just kind of have it. I don't want it to overlap like a ton.
Yeah, I think just a little bit, right?
Yeah. And we could even move it over to
think
the
you can-
side. Let's see. Got a little bit of margin to move it over.
Oh, yeah, that looks good.
Just pull it down a little bit.
I like how that lowercase I kind of just goes right towards that lowercase a perfectly.
Yeah, it fits
little gap.
exactly.
We're just typography nerds.
It's true. It's true. All right, you know what I'm also going to try to do? Let me grab this color. We're just going to do this the old school way. So I'm going to go back into my...
Yeah, I have to keep track. All right, we're back in Illustrator right now.
Yep. I'm just grabbing this darker color
Oh, or
to
swap.
use
Okay.
for my type. We'll see if this works or not. Let's go in here. Go into our type color.
Oh, we're getting some suggestions from Eric. There's saying, what if we change the opacity of the wave just a little?
Oh, we can try that.
could
The
be
only
interesting.
issue we might run into,
Oh, we're gonna see the
Is we're gonna
horizon
see the
line.
line.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
so
I
we
think
might
you're
have
right.
to, if we had it still behind,
Or if you duplicate it.
or we could duplicate it, yeah.
Well, maybe there's so many layers here.
That's
I
an
don't know.
express
All right.
trick. That's a little express hack right there. That's where I learned that.
We're making this one little piece so much more complicated. But it's gonna look great though.
Yeah. All right, so now we have copied it. I'm gonna put that in front of my artwork there, and then we'll just drag the transparency of this down a little bit. Let's start with like 75. Probably go a little bit more. How do we feel?
I don't know. What do we think, chat? quick survey. Do we like the opacity, or should we go back the other way? I'm kind of leaning towards the other way. What do you think?
It's a little bit, I think because the Y is so blocky, it's throwing me off a little bit.
It looks more like an opacity than it being in the water.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can also try, here, let me open up another panel for you, and this may be a mistake, but why not? In the effects panel, you can control, this is sort of reminds me of the appearance panel in Illustrator. You can control like the appearance, the way that
oh, it's like a blend
looks.
layer or something?
Yeah, so we can go in here and we can
oh, heck yeah,
like
these are,
overlay.
I bet we can, oh yeah, it's gonna change everything.
It is gonna change the color, is the only downside, yeah.
I'd say, how about this? How about we just, I don't know, that's kind of cool.
We can move on.
Because I want you to finish your poster for sure. I mean, I think we're, honestly, I like, it makes the water feel more dissected, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can also like pull the opacity. It doesn't have to be like 100% either. Like maybe.
Look at, we're just making waves over here.
I feel like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, let's
leave it for now.
Let's leave that for now, and we can come back to it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, oh gosh, this is gonna be, I may have to do an asset export because I want to pull out all of those, the molecules, because I need all of those.
Yeah,
so.
let's see those again. Are those on a layer?
Yeah.
Those guys?
So let's
okay.
do this.
You want to see what happens if you copy and paste it? That's a pretty simple one.
Oh, you know what? We could try.
That's a pretty simple. I think you can get away with that one.
Let's start with our carbon dioxide, because that's going to be kind of an important one. So let's take a look. Oh no, see, it's got a back.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, whoa, why did it do that?
I don't know.
Is it because of gradients?
Yeah.
I think the gradients are becoming a PNG or JPEG.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's do export for screens. Let's just export out. Oh gosh. Where's my asset export window when I need it? There we go. Let's just drag. I think you can drag all of them in at once, and it will. Yeah. All right. So let's save them all out as.
That's pretty cool. Is it because those are individually grouped? Is that why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And the groups are named. Look at how beautiful.
Oh man, you're a wizard.
And let's export these all as Illustrator files, and we'll save them. I'm gonna save them in this folder. Hope for the best.
I've got to give it to you. The organization on your files and layers, it's impressive. This is how we should do it. Chat, these are goals. If you're not naming these layers, we're going to have some troubles.
Where did you save to? Or are you still trying to save?
It's
still
that.
saving?
It's got that wave in there.
Oh, you know what? Did I save it in the folder? I did. All right, so now we should be able to drag these in.
Hashtag team layers.
Okay, come on. What is that?
What is that?
I think it's saving. Is there a save dialog box open somewhere? There shouldn't be. All right, I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm just gonna save them out as PNGs.
Yep.
One of these options is gonna work.
Yeah, that should. If that doesn't work, all right, I gotta figure something else out, because that's probably what I would do. Honestly, I thought
There we go.
Perfect.
Wait,
okay.
this is InDesign. All right, so now we've got our carbon dioxide in here. We can start to build out our story. So you always want to have, even if you're working on something for like, I mean, I feel like especially if you're working on something for like educational.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you've got like, you know the story that you're trying to tell before, you dive into it. So I have those notes there, but I also kind of knew like, all right, there's the specifics, but there's like the overarching, like this is what I want to kind of talk about, or this is what I want people to walk away from.
Yeah.
When they look at this, so.
Because again, it's a poster. We're quick at a glance. What are we trying to learn in that?
Right.
Sometimes just a couple seconds.
Right.
It's a challenge.
For sure. So we're gonna throw our carbon dioxide.
We got Caesar in the chat. What's up, man?
All right. Now we can start to put together. So the carbon dioxide is gonna enter. Oh, we should lock this.
Caesar put a pretty funny joke in the chat. Should I?
Why do scuba divers get good grades at school? Because they are always below sea level. See, like as in, I feel like I need to, for the people not on Behance, it's C as in like, or no, that's YouTube.
Like
C, letter C.
Yeah, like the grade C. That's a good one. That's a dad joke, coming from a dad.
The other thing that's going to be really important in these types of things is arrows. So process arrows. So we're going to make a rather large line, and then in the stroke panel, there's actually a lot of really cool options in InDesign, including like if you have an inset, you want to like create like a circle around something and call it out. But we're just going to go with a basic triangle.
It's interesting. I don't even think Illustrator has those same options, does it?
Not as many. You do have some,
it's a
but
few,
like
but I didn't see some of those in.
On another level.
That's cool.
And we're going to put this arrow kind of behind I'm going to put it right here. The other thing we can do, which is actually a kind of a handy tool, is this gradient filer tool. Have you ever used this?
No.
So if I want to add just a quick fade off, you can treat this like you would the gradient tool, and you can just kind of drag.
Right? Oh, see, I didn't know you could do that in InDesign. I've done it in.
Yeah, there's a regular gradient tool, but this one specifically just takes the color that you have and fades it.
To zero opacity.
To zero opacity.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So if we have black right now, but if we were to like grab a color up here, it would pull.
That's a really cool tool. Is that in Illustrator? Because I have not.
No,
it
is not.
Not a one click like that. That's pretty good.
Hang on, let me make sure I grab the color.
I honestly, I couldn't tell you how many times I manually do that. Or just try to select a darker color. That's the way to go.
Just keep pulling my color palette from over here.
All right, we have a question. So could you explain kind of the reasons for using InDesign for a poster like this instead of designing directly in Illustrator?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things, and we're going to get to it right in a second here as soon as I get this all set up, is the math expressions.
Oh, yeah.
Which Illustrator doesn't have. The other thing that I think InDesign is really great for, and I know we're not really taking advantage of it in this particular instance, but multi-page documents. So I've done infographics like this before where I've had to make the same general template, but it's been like slightly different information. And so this is a really great way to kind of set up and make sure that everything has the same, because you can work with pages in InDesign.
Yeah.
You can't work with pages. And you also have a little bit more power. I think there's certain things that InDesign does a little bit better than Illustrator, and I know that's going to be surprising because Illustrator is, I love Illustrator.
Same. We are both all about Illustrator.
But there's some things that it does that I think that it's a little bit stronger. Like we took a look at the different stroke options you have, and the character styles and the paragraph styles are really important. So if we were making this as an interactive PDF, we could set up all those character styles and paragraph styles, and those are going to be set for screen readers. So like if somebody's reading this with a screen reader, if I make this a title character style, Illustrator or screen reader is going to know to read that first. So, it understands that it's a title.
Because in Illustrator, it would just kind of flatten it to
right.
a thing,
you don't have
like
the same
image.
level of like control over that kind of stuff in Illustrator that you do.
You know, something else I wanted to put in there about that subject, because InDesign's really good with handing off files also. Let's say if you're working with a team that aren't the illustration team, or if you were to give them an Illustrator file with these waves, what would happen? Their computer might crash, but also where do I start?
Sure.
But this gives a little more control in case they want to get in there and change some, type, or like you said, they might change the headline, like you said earlier.
And InDesign's kind of like a place where everything kind of comes together. And so when I worked in the textbook industry, there would be different people focused on different parts of the project. So like somebody would pour the content into InDesign, but somebody else would style it. And like the art team would make the art, and they would have size guidelines, and then the compositor would put the so there's all these different hands kind of involved in the same project, but they're all.
It's a good little like melting pot of all those things coming together.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm just setting up all of the different pieces and parts. These are all the chemicals. So we've got our carbon dioxide, which is going to combine with our water and create carbonic acid. And that's the thing that's going to break apart in the water and create all these ions that are going to, so we're going to have an excess of hydrogen ions that are going to prevent the calcium carbonate. So
Wow.
from
we need a lab coat right now for you. This is impressive.
The excess hydrogen means that the carbonate ions bind with that hydrogen and become this carbonic acid instead of forming calcium carbonate. So that's really, I guess, what this diagram is showing, is how the carbon dioxide breaks down in water and the byproducts that we get. So we are going to switch to math expressions because I really want to make sure that we get into this.
Yeah, this is what you were talking before this, and I've never used this. I didn't know this existed.
Yeah.
Is this new?
It's relatively new.
Okay.
I feel like it's been around for a little while.
Okay.
But if you've ever had to do math if you've ever done chemistry work or like math equations, you'll soon find that it's not particularly easy to create like math formulas using like standard fonts, right? They don't have the right characters. You have to find like a font that has all the Greeks and all that. So, and I've worked with a lot of clients, and they all have different solutions to this. So, and you might try plugins, but now this is all kind of built into InDesign. It's using Math ML, which is a special scripting language. If you've ever used XML, XML is the language that creates SVGs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So when you create Math ML and XML kind of exist together.
That makes perfect sense because SVGs are used a lot in web design, and web design and coding, I do know that part, which it maps it onto the screen, right?
Yeah.
With shapes.
So you can write a Math ML in InDesign if you're familiar with that, or you can use these kind of presets to create those expressions. When we export it, it's actually going to export out as vector shapes.
Nice.
But they're all going to be, the important thing is that they're consistent. You want the, when you're creating math equations, you want them, there's like a certain standard that they have to be created, by. And so you want them to be consistent. It used to be a nightmare to do this prior to this, because you'd have to it has to be a certain number of, pixels apart. So anyways, we're going to create our expression. Yeah. So the way you use this is you're going to click on this create expression button at the top. It's not going to be like regular. It's a little bit of typing, but it's mostly like working with this special like object. So once we do that, we're going to click into this space, and it's going to create this insert expression here. This is kind of like a placeholder. Okay. Now the other thing, I mentioned fonts. The other thing to make sure you know about this is these have their own fonts. You can't change the font. Okay. You can change the color, you can change the size.
And these come with InDesign, right? It's not like I need to download a font or anything like that?
They're actually, it's not actually InDesign as much as it is Math ML. Right. Yeah. So these characters are like specially built.
Wow.
I'll give you an example. And you can kind of call them up using...
That's funny.
I have the wrong selection tool. There we go. All right, so we've got our instant expression. Now, if we go into here and we pick one of these, so our first one's actually going to be, and if you hover over these, so scripts is like superscript, subscript, that kind of a thing, fractions. So you can kind of figure your way out through this. It's a little bit daunting, but we're going to go ahead and
I'm getting laser focused right now. I'm like, all right, I have to sit and comprehend. I'm not very good at math, but these will help you do it.
Yeah, right.
Which is great.
I picked the wrong one, of course. So we're going to pick our superscript, our subscript. So we've got the main type here. And you can see I've got a little cursor down here. That's showing me where, it's a little bit hard to see. Let's zoom in. It's showing me where I'm typing. So right now I've got the main character selected. So I can start to type in CO for carbon dioxide. And it's obviously dioxide. So when we go down here, we need to put in our 2. Now we've got CO2. Now, if I want to get out of this particular equation, I'm going to hit the arrow tool, and you'll see my cursor goes from being small, indicating that I'm inside of that, because all of these are inside. Here, let me show you. All of these are inside of these
this is what we're doing.
Like character brackets, right? Yeah. So I need to make sure that I move out of that space, outside of the those brackets, to get back to like, now I'm creating a new equation, or like a new thing, right? So, and then down here, I'm going to scroll down, and you can also type too. So like a plus sign is a plus sign. But if you had like a
one of those little zigzag things, I don't know what some of those are. Some Greek letters.
There's a lot of Greek, yeah. If you scroll down, they're broken up. So like we've got symbols, we've got I think this is upper and lowercase Greek.
Okay.
We've got we're gonna use arrows.
So the pyramids were made with InDesign.
All right, we're gonna add another subscript subscript for H2O. So we're gonna create H. Gonna go into that.
Yeah.
Subscript H2O, and now the next thing we need to add is an arrow, because when a chemical equation occurs, right?
Okay.
You've got on one side you've got the original two molecules, and the arrow indicates like a process is occurring, right? So like the result of these two combining, we get the.
The way it said zigzag minus Greek equals art.
So there's our arrow, and all this stuff is it's very specific. Like it has to be in a certain style, and it has to be in a specific format, right?
That's the biggest thing that I'm learning here is that when you're in this very particular situation where you do have these molecules and these equations, you don't just go in there and size down that 2 and then lower it underneath the type line. You need to have that character, right? And that's what this is doing. So we have to put in these specific characters just like this, and InDesign does that.
Yeah, so there we go. There's our chemical process. We've got our CO2, we've got our H2O, and we've got our carbonic acid, or H2CO3. So we've got all of our components here, and I'm going to scale these down a little bit so they fit above. Again, we want people to know, like, oh, okay, I understand that, like, this is the byproduct of these two.
Okay, yeah, those are more, they're closer together to identify with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Now, obviously, the other thing we need to take into consideration when we're doing this kind of stuff is legibility. And I think I meant to mention this before. And also, like, we're working with print.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful about, like, dark backgrounds with, like, light text. So I could make this text white, but it wouldn't print very well. So I'm going to just go ahead and throw another arrow in here, so we can continue to lead our eye around this design. So now we're going to be pointing, we've got this, what is the result then that we end up with after we kind of break down these?
Because we have to then, I'm assuming, going to make some more arrows, kind of charting our way down to the bottom of the floor.
Exactly. We're going to work our way down to the bottom of the floor.
I remember these science books. Honestly, I love the illustrations in science books the most. I felt like the diagrams and everything were so fun.
Yeah, I think that they are. There's something really magical about them. My favorite client to work with back when I was doing this stuff full time, Nat Geo, would do a lot of this kind of like big process illustration stuff. Yeah.
And would those go into books or?
Sometimes they would go into books. You know, they also do a lot of, I think I might have lost my ocean surface. Oh no, it's still there. It's just my text is no longer behind it. Oh. Let's fix that. Oop. Oh, it's above.
It's okay. I like it like that.
There. We got it. All right.
Oh, there it is.
So, they would also go into like online materials.
Okay.
So, like if they had like an ebook, but also they would sometimes have like articles written.
Yeah,
and they would
that's
pull
right.
those in as well. So, and they also sometimes would use them for animations as well. Like they'd have little shorts.
Like Jurassic Park DNA strand. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. All right. Let me go in and I want to export out. We need to get some animals in here. So looking a little. We need to get our
Because we had a few. We had a lot actually.
Yeah, let's see if my. Oh, no,
and they looked really cool. I remember that was one of the first things I noticed when you showed me the file. I was like, let's zoom in on some of that coral because that looked great.
My libraries are not going to cooperate. We could do the same thing that we did before with our layers. So I'm going to go back into here and actually have them all. I believe I have them all in a singular layer together. Yeah, all of our creatures. So we've got our starfish, we've got our clam, we've got our sea urchin, we've got the royal blue tang, which is like Dory.
Oh yeah.
From Finding Nemo. We've got our stingray, and we've got some coral. We've got some eelgrass back here.
Okay.
These are all going to be a part of our story. We got a seabird, so we're going to export these out. I think I also named these. I did. Look at me. And we're going to go to our asset export again. We're going to add these on here. Delete these out, and we'll add these back. There we go. Give it a sec. Why am I using my trackpad?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you had a mouse. Okay, so we're just trying to break these apart like we did with the molecules, right?
Yeah.
So this will save individual assets. I think what we do, PNGs.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do the same thing. You know what? If we're gonna have, we'll just do it this way. I'm just gonna grab what I need.
It's a great composition. Honestly, like the style. I've never illustrated something in this style, and I've always been so fascinated with those science books, like we were saying. But it's like kind of like I forget about that because I don't open science books very often anymore outside of school. So it's really cool to see this is what these things were, and there's artists behind those. So gotta make it fun.
Oh, I just switched. Okay, now we can export all this out.
Okay.
We're making it work. You can do this all with a library. I don't know what's going on with my window. I'll have to troubleshoot that later. Oh, did you not export everything? Did I only select one thing?
I just see the dory fish.
All right. Well, make sure we got everything selected and hit export.
Nice. And then that's the dory
Now
fish.
we can put them in. The dory fish. All right. So we need to have our stingray. And the idea here is that I'm showing like, let's close our math expression. We want to show that like this affects a lot of the ecosystem, not just like, oh, it's just shell, it's just some clams, right? But it affects like everything kind of like up. So like starting with the smallest kind of creatures, everything kind of in the ocean is impacted by, you know, this process that happens. And eventually that makes its way kind of up to humans as well. I think I have a statistic in there about like how many people their livelihood like depends on the ocean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many ways of industry, but also people living by the sea, and it's a part of their culture.
Sure. Can't forget our seabird. Put this guy up here, in the sky, not in the water. All right, and then we're gonna put this here. I'm just gonna throw these kind of on the design, and we'll go from there.
Wait, what's that little tiny one?
I think this is the sea urchin. I think somehow it got shrunk when I placed it. I didn't make it, you know, large enough. That's probably too large, but this one I had trouble with. Everybody who was in my stream will remember that I had a hard time representing a sea urchin.
Really?
Because they have all these spikes that come around like three-dimensionally, and eventually I was like, forget it. I'm not gonna add a million spikes. I'm just gonna kind of simplify it. And I think it works. Yeah,
I think so.
All right, so we've got our creatures in here. I also want to export out my coral while we're on it, so we can kind of put everything in place. So we've got our coral. I actually have a couple different examples, but you can see here, this guy, it's split. So on the left side, or on the left side here is what it looks like when the coral has been bleached. So it turns like a white color. It becomes very brittle.
Yeah.
And on the right side, you've got the coral that's healthy. So we're gonna add this in.
It's kind of sad. I feel like, for me at least, I see the white coral more often.
Right.
And that's bad.
Yeah,
right?
because that means that it's unhealthy and it's you know, dead. There's one of the things I have in there is a statistic about 50% of the coral reefs in the world have died since the 1950s.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? All right, zoom out. There we go. And I'm gonna throw that coral in there too. All right, I'm gonna just kind of put it over here. Right, so these are all our kind of creatures. So we can start to tell our story. Reflect this. friendly. Right, these little dory fish live in amongst the coral. They depend on it for, protection from predators. And we've got our shellfish. Now let's find a shape. We're going to use a circle to create kind of a cycle illustration. Then we'll put some information about how that impacts the life cycle. I'm going to add some arrows here. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to cut this first. So I'm going to use the scissor tool, just like I would in Illustrator, to cut this design.
I've never used the scissor tool.
Not in either program?
No.
Oh, wow.
Wow, indeed. I'll usually just the pen tool and then delete the pieces I don't need.
That makes sense, but I kind of wanted it to have...
But it does the same thing, right?
Basically, yeah. You just make an opening. And then cutting it, I'm not doing it that way because I want to figure out where I want the placement to be. So you can see we've got our little stinger over here. I probably want to have this, maybe we'll tilt it so that it fades off here. And
I see what you,
here,
yeah.
So that we can see.
Get some overlap.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're going for. Go back over here.
Looking good though.
And we're gonna grab our color. I know this is kind of crazy, but.
I think we've made some really great progress, to be honest. That's a lot of just setting up your file, and that's the biggest battle. Really, once you have that file, then you can move things around. The type is probably the easiest thing to add in there, but just getting it set up.
I want to make sure that I show you something about type, so remind me before we.
Yeah, we're kind of getting close towards the end, so it might be a good time.
Okay, let me fade this off here. I'm just gonna pull that off.
This is a great case study for this.
And then
I need to use that gradient.
Yeah, it's a handy little fella. All right.
And that's doing that on a stroke?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so we'll just leave that for now. We could do an arrange. Here, we'll select this. Arrange. Bring to front. All right, so we're going to add our type for this section over here now. So I'm going to create a shape first. I'm going to go back in here and create a rectangle. And I'm going to pull this color. And I'm going to make a fill. And I'm going to go up here to my object, corner options. And we're going to just round the corners out a little bit. Again, it's in the water, so we probably want something that looks a little bit softer. We want this to be friendly. And then I'm going to go with my type tool. I'm going to click inside here. And if I type some stuff in here, you're like, that doesn't look very good, Jack. But let me show you a little trick. We're going to go to right-click on this. Text frame options. Inside inset. Let me make sure you can see. I can create an inset on this.
Oh,
so I can specify the distance
More
I
control,
want the text to be from the border. So again, this is something that you can only really do in InDesign that I find really, really handy for.
That's so true, because in Illustrator, I've been doing this a lot, where you can kind of align it center to the text box or within the text box in 3 variables. But so that you can step by step put it where you want. That's pretty good.
It also behaves like any other thing in InDesign, so I can snap it to the size of the text that I have, which is super handy. Let me just go ahead and grab some information about. Here we go. It's pretty good. We'll just grab decreasing populations of shellfish and coral affects larger food webs. Go in here.
I see we got Jess. Hey, Jess. Anyone tuning in, we're creating a poster in InDesign. A lot of these assets were used and built in Illustrator, but we're importing them in, but just making essentially a poster that's more user-friendly. And also what was the equations? The math equations was the main reason we jumped in here, and the expressions are pretty fascinating. So you see all those CO2, H2O, and equations up top. That's kind of, how do we say it? It's an equation. I just never knew that was, I'm speechless. It's not just a font.
Yeah, so you can see we can kind of adjust this, and then we can reuse the settings on multiple kind of text boxes to kind of put this together. So then I'll pull this over here, and now we've got this label down here. Obviously, we still need to add like those. We'll add the rest of the chemical kind of breakdown, and then probably do another arrow down. We'll add the chemicals over here. If we don't get it all done, I'm giving you kind of a recap.
Yeah, I think we got about 10 minutes.
We're gonna add the rest of these chemicals in for the products, the byproducts, and then we'll do another arrow that comes down from there that talks about coral bleaching.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be the route that I go. So obviously these are our ions in here. Now we can see the carbonate ion, the hydrogen ion, and then we've got this bicarbonate ion. So these are the 3 ions, essentially. Okay. Ions are like a charged molecule that happen when this carbonic acid breaks down. And you get this excess amount of hydrogen. So we're actually going to we'll do like 2 hydrogen. And then we'll scale. Oop. My goodness. Does not want to cooperate. I'll scale them down first. We'll scale these down. They don't need to be so big. You can also add like some depth to this too. So like we can take this carbonic ion and we could do like 75%.
Oh.
And just kind of have them.
Kind of foreground, background kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially. So we can have a little bit more interesting design. And again, you could go in and you could adjust if you wanted to the transparency to this. So we can pull this down. Make it look like it's kind of set back in the water. Obviously, these are not, these are molecules, so you wouldn't necessarily see them. That's kind of the other thing about this kind of work. And it's something that I learned early on, actually, when I was in school to become a medical illustrator. A lot of the work is very like, you're creating the ideal for people to learn, not necessarily full realism.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an interesting.
You have a little freedom just to have it make sense.
Yeah. Exactly. So we're going to make another blue arrow here. I'm going to make sure that I feather it off at the top. Maybe we don't need a feather. We'll see. And this is going to point down to our coral, right? Because we want to point out the coral.
Yeah. Because we said earlier we have 2 parts of this coral.
Transform, and we're going to flip it. Because I want to point out the bleached side. So in this case, I'm actually going to have it on the opposite side. And then let's see. Whoop. Again, copy and paste this text box, and maybe we'll put something here about coral bleaching. Maybe that fact about the 1950s. 50% of coral reefs have died since the 1950s. There we go.
And when you get those outlines from, let's say, the client, are all those key points things you have to have in there, or do you get to kind of
not necessarily, no. I mean, there are going to be some, like you'll notice that some of these, I think I had bolded some of them because they were things I really wanted to hit on.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to make sure that I included the main sort of equation. I really wanted to make sure that I don't think I got this one in. We'll put that in the top. About how the decrease, this is really the main point of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Decrease in pH and calcium carbonate decreases marine diversity. So these are just kind of like key points that I want to make sure that I include in this. And then I also wanted to include about the coral bleaching because we're basically, you can see here, we're telling a story.
Yeah, this is really looking good.
We're talking about like, this is the process. This is
Let's see the top real quick.
byproduct.
We could zoom out a little bit. There we go.
There we go.
We'll take it from the top.
Stop zooming.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh. Let's zoom out. There's a fit, isn't there? Let's see.
Yeah, there should be.
Nope.
Did it not work?
There was no fit to screen. I was looking to see if there was.
I think I'm in the way of, wait. Yeah, I'm in the ocean.
There we go.
There we go.
Now you can see it all. Yeah, so the overall story here, right? We've got the carbon breaks down, the byproducts affects the coral, which affects the larger life cycle, and then so you're creating like this nice like circle of information
keeps your
the way
eye.
that people are kind of reading it, right? And that's really the whole goal of this is you want to kind of like someone should be able to look at this and say like, okay, there's a chemical process happening, it's having an impact on this. and then it's having an impact on kind of the sea life. So that's kind of really the whole
Yeah.
story that we're trying to tell. And it's very like visually appealing and like high level. I think
Yeah.
is maybe like,
I think the hierarchy really does it all the justice it needs. I mean, you're seeing this journey. It takes us through it. And honestly, those little visual characteristics are really good to keep us on the page, which I'm impressed with that. I'm just an Illustrator guy. I just like love those illustrations.
thanks, yeah.
But that's great. I think we're at time. So,
think so, too.
should we just go ahead and wrap? I mean,
Yeah,
thanks
yeah.
again.
Yeah,
This
we
is
got
really
through
fun.
pretty much everything. So we'll take this into Express and we'll translate it, I think. Next.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jack. We'll
Thank you so
catch you
much.
in the stream after
Yep.
this next one.
You're up next.
Yeah, I'm up next.
I'll
So-
be sometime. There we
Yeah,
go. We got the
there's it.
schedule up.
Nice. Well, thanks again. Stay tuned. I'll be on the other side of this and talk a little bit about our pens, Adobe MAX pens. So thanks
Yes,
again.
I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
My name
to
is
give
Timothy
Illustrator
Goodman,
its summer
and
glow
I
up.
am
And I
a
want
New York
to be
City-based
creating my
artist
new
and
merch
designer.
line, but
Welcome
with
to my
Adobe
studio.
Illustrator's newest workflows that are now. We need to give Illustrator its summer glow up. And I want to be creating my new merch line, but with Adobe Illustrator's newest workflows that are now so much faster.
I think we should get started maybe in Firefly with some inspiration.
Yeah.
So this is the new Firefly mobile app. I have conveniently written up some prompts that will help us get some fruit assets. So all I did was hit content type and then art. I like this one. Let's download that. I am going to paste my other prompt. Something that I like about this app too is it's really user friendly. I can go back and see all of the things that I already generated. This is Firefly boards for anyone that doesn't know. Right here in boards, you can generate anything you want. Firefly always commercially safe, so we can use that in our mockups.
I've been recently using this with clients. So if you want to collaborate with clients on a project or you just want to ideate or brainstorm, because sometimes clients don't know what they want, you can take them here and such easy way to collaborate.
So we're doing a
generate.
few things. We're like generating. I'm gonna add in these photos that we generated on my phone. Also, this is my favorite feature. You can highlight all 3 of them and then remix it. Like this one at the bottom is hilarious.
A lot of the Adobe community has been asking for a faster workflow on Illustrator. The Adobe team really does listen to the community, so it's cool that like it's now incorporated into the app.
What was the first step of the process?
Yeah, so I drew them out and just kind of made them a vector before coming on Adobe Illustrator. I actually used the pencil tool, which also another big feature that's launching in this new Illustrator launch is how the pencil tool is now a lot faster and you have so much more control if you want to make it smoother or more organic. So here are some sketches I made. You can double click here and then just press smooth. It will go 10 times smoother. See, like look at that leaf.
Yeah.
Like that was so nice, especially like when you have just quick adjustments to make. Boom. That's so much smoother than what I sketched. I kind of want to make these stickers for merch as well.
Okay.
What's great about the new artboard features is that you can press this plus sign and you can have an artboard next to you, below you, to the right. I think I'm gonna make some mock-ups now. So I'm gonna go on window and then I'm gonna go mock-up. And then I'm gonna go create mockup.
I like this because it just kind of like curved it very subtly.
Yeah, like I could move the mockup around.
You could see what it like looks on the brim.
Exactly.
Super smart.
And what I love about the mockup tool on Illustrator is that you can choose different kinds of mockups. So like if I wanted to do packaging, it already has built-in mockups here. Okay, so let's get onto this wallpaper portion. One of the features that I love that's new on Illustrator is Gen Expand. And I think I'm gonna do like a gradient in the background.
Cute. That was so fast.
I'm actually gonna click the generative expand portion here and I want to make this like an iPhone wallpaper. Expand gradient with berry pattern and let's see what she spits out.
Okay, but I also love that it like vectorizes it, so you could play around with it if you wanted to.
You could, yeah, and it also gives you different variations. That's how fast the new Illustrator updates are, and just want to emphasize that Illustrator and the Adobe community as a whole does see your comments, does see your suggestions, so please always comment your feedback because they incorporate it, they see it, and it's so cool. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Hey everyone, we are here at Adobe Live, and I'm with Tyler, and he's gonna run us through kind of what he's been working on.
Exciting news about the Adobe MAX pins. So if you don't know me, by the way, I'm Tyler Pate, illustrator, art director. Here's a little bit of my work. I figured let's just kick things off. This is my website, just to give you an idea of some of the things that I do. I work in a lot of consumer products and make merchandise, and I've worked with some bigger brands, but also I like making products and physical things like I can hold and we can, kind of put on our lapels and things like that. So to transition to what I have to show you today is just, I'm so excited about it because I've been working for months to just not say anything, but we finished the pins. The pins, if you don't know, every year at Adobe MAX, all the attendees, they get an anniversary pin. So this anniversary pin, and I'll just hold up a random one. There's these little lapel pins that you get, and they represent how many years you've used the program. So if you've used Adobe Illustrator or even Photoshop for 3 years, 2 years, you kind of get one of these pins, and there's like a year 2. There's 9 pins in total. I'll just let you take a look at it. There's 35 years,
Wow.
But the crazy thing, look at this one. 40-year
40.
pen.
Wow.
What a champion for
Almost
whoever
as long
gets
as
that.
we've been alive.
Oh man, that's so much. That's crazy.
Wow.
So each of these pens represent the time, the effort, the decades you put into the programs, and there's an artist that gets selected before Max to develop and design these pens. So the theme changes, but the numbers are always the same, and there's 9 of them. So I wanted to kind of walk us through this process at the finish line, and then I'll dive back into what it was like in the process. So if you're ready for that, I guess we could just kind of start with kind of what the theme was this year. We had a couple different directions, but what we ultimately landed on was this tribute to the evolution of trends. I feel like we're in such a weird moment, and I feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm seeing trends recirculate.
Yeah.
So like I'm seeing things from the 90s
Yeah.
coming back around, and that's when I grew up. So it's funny to realize these trends keep coming through, and it's fun because we get inspired by these trends for the future, but also let's pay homage to those. So I wanted this whole theme to revolve around paying tribute to what's been done, paying tribute to the programs, and honestly all the hard work. So the big reveal. So
Oh, yeah.
these are the 9 pens. Where am I at? I'm on the 2, but it's pretty cool to see them all together. And we'll get past this too. It's somewhere over there. There it is. But yeah, each one of these, like I said, represents a trend and an era in time, along with different moments of Adobe history, which is kind of cool. So you'll notice, like with the 40 up top, we're doing little subtle nods to the printing era.
Yeah.
And the 40th pen represents the 1960s of graphic design. So we're thinking no screens, no monitors.
Yeah.
This is just back to the roots of design, like the Paul Rand era. And I wanted to pay tribute to the printing and the things before, but also there's subtle nods to like the PostScript era for the early generation of, I think it was Adobe PostScript. I think that's what it was called. But it used a bunch of nodes and things like this to create font types.
Right.
So there's a little bit of that. And then the thing that I'm probably most stoked about with this one, this is based on the original Adobe logo.
Love that.
The original one, and we'll dive into what that looked like later.
Oh, yeah.
And then we get to the 35 pen. Very special pen because guess what turned 35 for Adobe?
Tell me.
Photoshop.
Okay.
One of the like craziest ones. I didn't know that either.
Whoa.
I was like, wow, it's 35 years
Man.
for Photoshop. So we wanted to make that a real focus for the 35-year pen. The style is kind of the 70s era. So we're getting in more of the vibrant colors, disco ball kind of look. But also, we got a hidden eyeball there. We got a magic wand.
Oh.
We got some other like JPEG image. What do you call that? Checkerboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, so got some subtle nods there. Then we get to like the great synth waves of the 80s, right? So I wanted to really bring that home and just have some fun with that. And honestly, I think this is the first one where when I was thinking about the concept, I was like, what could the trends be? 80s was probably the first one I thought of.
Yeah.
I was like, that's got to be on there.
Yeah.
So this is you can have it right there. But so it's like, that was the start of it. And then, see, we got the overhead. Here's where's that camera? There it is.
So close. There it is.
Why can't I find, there's like a little delay.
Oh, there, yeah.
There it is. Look at that. So what's so really cool about this is it's not only showing some of the Illustrator features that were kind of coming into play, such as like the perspective tool, which is this grid, also showing back to like the points and other gradient elements, which is really neat. And then we get to like the 25 pen. Again, this one represents the 90s. So the first thing I thought was websites.
Yeah.
Like digital. Everything is just going to screens in like the early ways. And I think of Saved by the Bell. I mean, that was like such a
It
moment
is
for
really
me.
giving Saved by the Bell.
So I thought that, all right. And I think that show might be taking place in the 80s, but it was in the 90s when I saw it. But this is also some subtle nods to Photoshop. So we got the like the magnifying glass, some 3D effects that are coming into play. And this is another favorite. So the 20-year pen, which is the Y2K moment. So thinking about that early 2000 time period and kind of where the design trends were going, but also bringing it back to some of the features at the time. Do another nod to Photoshop and all these like 3D effects. And I think the 25 and 20 are similar eras in terms of technology, but the style I thought was really changing.
Yeah.
And then we get to the 15 pen, which I think was a huge moment for apps and the development of what was happening in like the 2010 era, I think.
Yeah.
Everything was going down to how can we make an icon for a phone and what does an app logo look like. So I wanted to really bring in that feature. And also getting back to more of the website and app development, which we're using the Splice tool a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's like some nods to like the program app itself, which is pretty neat. And then getting on to like the Tenure pen, that's when, Adobe Cloud was introduced. What a big moment.
Everything's on the cloud now,
Everything was
at
on
this
the
point in time.
cloud, dude. It was like mind blowing. I was so resistant at first.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I want to keep it on my
Yeah.
hard drive.
Now I'm all cloud.
I'm all cloud.
Forget hard drives.
No.
Yeah.
Who knows what computer I might be on?
Yeah,
I need to
exactly.
log in. I can
Yeah.
download my files. So I felt like that was a key moment to definitely feature, but also just remind ourselves that the cloud existed then, and that was like 10 years ago. Only 10 years ago. So the overarching design is the actual cloud from CC. And then there's the whole download or upload to cloud feature in there. And then we get to the 5. And then for this one, the trends, I think, start getting too close together to really distinguish.
Right.
But I thought it would be a great opportunity to just really leaning into the hidden features. So like, how can we turn the tools into the numbers? And the objects are kind of like the spiral tool becomes that 5. And then the pen tool becomes that moment of coming down and plotting that point. But one of the big features then was we can comment on shared documents. Have you done that?
Yeah.
It's such a cool feature, and I think it's something that I keep forgetting about, but we can put notes and we can just really share, and I think that collaboration became a real key for this number 5. And then we get to our last one, the number 2. Not that long ago. And honestly, things have changed so much since then. This is the dawn of AI.
Yeah, already.
This is
2 years.
2 years ago. So we're doing a throwback to the generation of Firefly. So these are subtle nods to that program app, but also the changing of images and how we look at things from there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a high-level overview of each icon. And then we'll dive into a little bit of this.
Yeah, please do. I'm really curious about all of these little icons that you went through. Like, did you mood board these? That's kind of what I do in my own work, where I see how can I show this time period or this concept with the least amount of imagery possible.
Yeah, and honestly, we can't help but not to think how small these are.
Yeah.
I mean, these are so tiny. Like, we don't get a lot of room in real estate to really see what they can really blow up and become. So we have to really see it on the micro level. And just like diving into what those are. I'll show you the mood board of some of these, and they get pretty out there. And there's some ideas that I'm like, oh, that's still a good one. But I'm still stoked on where we landed, because I think that was probably the biggest deciding factor. It was like, okay, but we're cramming too much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, slice it down.
Yeah.
And then when we started doing that, I was like, this is how great design happens.
Right.
It's focused.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly how all of these pens became. But it started with those eras. Once I had the era, I realized, all right, I'm limited on a style. That helped me focus on limited colors, limited shapes.
And it's nice that they all, in a way, have a style that's cohesive together.
I'm glad to hear that.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like probably most afraid of that.
Totally, yeah.
Because it could have been the Wild West.
Right.
But no, I think it worked out. And then after doing the first maybe 5 or so, I'm like seeing the color palette, and I'm like, all right, maybe I have to add 1 or 2 other colors, but let's keep it to this.
Right.
And that limitation, I think, really helped that cohesion that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But when I got into the actual development, like for the 40th, it was concepting around like, all right, what of that time period made the most sense, and what was some of the earliest Adobe accomplishments?
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I thought about print design at the point of even the postscript symbols and things like that was all aiding for print. So we're developing things that are becoming softwares and for digital purposes, but it's all to help print.
Right.
So I knew that was going to be a good focus for the 40th pen.
Yeah.
So original Adobe logo here in the 4. Put some like printer alignment marks, just a little nods like that. Registration mark symbols right here in the center, and then the Bezier curve. So like little subtle things I've been able to bring into each one of these. Like we mentioned, 35 was mainly focused on Photoshop, so it kind of made it a little easier.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever makes Photoshop great, let's just put it in this.
Right.
So we came about with like the Photoshop eye layer, which that was probably the biggest one that for me where I was like, all right, this could work.
Yeah.
Because I was just trying to figure out what to do with that 3 and that swoop.
That's crazy that the Magic Wand is 35 years old, because I can't imagine what that must have felt like.
Well, I don't know if that particular tool is 35.
Okay.
But as a whole, we made it all about Photoshop.
I see.
Yeah. I don't think the Magic Wand
Forget
was
I
there.
said that.
Yeah, but some of these features might not be there. But it is very Photoshop focused. And I think that was the biggest thing we wanted, was just like highlight Photoshop, since it's such a big year.
Yeah.
So that made the most sense for why we went that direction. And then honestly, the 30th for me, I was just really wanting this style. I love the new wave, neo wave
The
kind of
3
stuff.
really hits it. And the sun, and the grid, those are all iconic 80s imagery, and you
Right?
just
That's what
made
I
it
thought.
into
That's
the
what
30.
I
It's
thought.
perfect.
I was like, this is gonna be great for anyone who's lived through those years and also just loves that nostalgia. This is the pen for them. And hopefully you've been working for 30 years, because then you can get the pen. But there's like some subtleties in here. I think the perspective grid tool reference is probably the biggest nod that was unique, and just trying to work that in there. And then, again, back to the 25, thinking about that 90s nostalgia, kind of how that hits in that early Web 1.0 days, So there's some subtleties in there. Like honestly, the 3D effects in Photoshop was starting to become a thing then. So that's actually a really good nod back to Photoshop. And then we're thinking about the Y2K again. So very inspired by the Y2K design and what that aesthetic looks like. And then like thinking of like bounding boxes. So I wanted to keep this type so boxy, like a perfect square almost.
Right.
To just represent that. Not so much on the nose, but it was there in the research. And then we had like the transparent background checkerboard. And then some more of those little hidden details. So I tried to like cram as many as I could, but I think when you
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, when you start eliminating, you realize like, all right, I'm forcing too many. Like, and I'll show you some of the sketches. Oh man, you can't judge me on the sketches, but they got us here. That's all I care about. And then we talked about this one, which I think that one turned out really good as a silhouette. Yeah, I like that one a lot. And then the 5, which is really fun because there was a lot of debate of like, do we see the number? Yeah. Because I think you either see it first or you don't.
Yeah, and I see it.
Did you see it first?
I see it immediately, but because I'm aware that we're looking at numbers in the context of it, which someone in the chat asked, are these going to be available on the Max shop? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't believe so. I think it's only at Adobe MAX.
In person, yeah.
Yeah. But if we talk enough out loud, I guess things could happen. I don't know, but I'm really pleased with these, and I'd love for everyone to get one because I think these are for the creatives. And that's one thing I wanted to make clear.
Yeah. Someone mentioned an X-Acto blade, I think on the 15.
Oh, yeah. My
first job, I was introduced to the X-Acto blade when you're doing print stuff. I love when you don't know what an icon is, and
Yeah.
then years later you find out that it was a real thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes us sound really young
Yeah.
by loving that happens.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just we adapt, and then you forget about how did we get here.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is exactly a moment to reflect, and we could do some homework, you know, because I learned a lot by going back, and I'm like, oh, dude, some of these things I thought have always been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the past 10 years,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
I use those tools so much. And then, you know, we talked about this one, which I think is a really good piece to end on, especially subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can't really talk about design or creativity without mentioning AI these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's here.
Yeah.
And it's such a big movement for Firefly. So definitely giving it a moment to stand out. And I think the 2-year pen does really well for that.
The little sparkle. I used one for a project maybe a year ago, and my feedback was, someone said, I can't not think of AI with the sparkle, so we couldn't do that.
Dude, what that's talking about, you mentioned this earlier, that's going to become the ideal thinking for it. Like every time you see that, it's going to be associated.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, already within 2 years.
2 years. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's been 2 years. It feels longer, honestly, but it's just wild. Okay, so shifting gears to the actual cardstock, right? So there's this whole other element to this too, where we have these pins, but also the pins need to be on a little backing card, because this is how we're going to be handed out. And the backing card is its own other layer to this that I wanted to, here we go, that I wanted to showcase, because the story, I didn't want it to be this like different for each one. I could have easily like, what does the 15-year pin look like for the back card? I wanted this to be the neutral place.
Yeah.
I wanted the story to really get buttoned up by the back card. Just in case the designs of each pin got too crazy.
Right.
That was kind of my fail-safe. I was like, all right, if it gets too wild, I can bring them back together with the back card. And through this whole experience, I realized this is all about the process. This is all about finding the end of the creativity.
Yeah.
And what better start than the cutting room floor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we're going to bring it back.
Yeah.
We're going to make this the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
And think of all these logos being crafted and designed on graph paper and drawn in ways that, even if you look at this design file that I have, like this is representing the pen. This is what happens when you remove the pen.
Oh, I love that.
So behind each one of these,
I love that detail.
there is a little hidden blue line. See?
That is so fun.
Of the actual
that.
pin that it's representing. So that, again, an extra layer to these is I wanted a collectible card.
Yeah.
I wanted something where you don't want to throw this away.
Right.
Because that is the kind of creative I
Yeah.
am. I just like to collect these design pieces. I collect tags if they look cool.
Yeah.
And I just like use them for reference.
And it's so easy to like, you made the pin. You could check out and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I made the product. But putting effort into this, that's just next level. That's why they pay you
Thank
big
you.
bucks.
I mean, if anything, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities to do this
Yeah.
is really special, and that's again where thank you Adobe and thank you for the Adobe teams that I've worked with to develop this, because it's really special. Because I'm a creative. We're in the same community. We're making stuff all the time, and there's moments where I want to make something that would inspire me.
Yeah.
If I saw this.
Right.
I want something that checks those boxes of collectability, storytelling, and quality. And I think I tried to do my best. I hope it lands. I hope you guys like it.
Everyone in the chat is saying put them in the store. They want to buy them.
So I hope that storytelling element really shows through, because behind each of these back cards, we have another layer.
And if you peel the back card, no, just kidding.
There's just too many layers. This is what I've just lost my mind. Each of the back of these back cards have the story for what that era represents. So for the 40th, as you see here, it's a tribute to the roots of modern design. Like I was talking about with like the Paul Rand eras, like that early graphic design, X-Acto blades, you know, like cutting on tracing paper, all that stuff is what I wanted this era to really represent.
Right.
And it tells a little bit about that. And each of these back cards tell a little bit about that pen in that way. So it's really nice little bow on top to bring it together.
Yeah.
And then there's one other layer. Can you believe it or not?
I can't.
Are you
believe
ready
it.
for this
What's
other
it gonna
layer?
be?
All right. This is one that really helped me say wow. The year 2 pen is going to be the cleanest and less distressed card.
Oh,
It's the newest.
fantastic.
And then when we get all the way to the 40th pen, we've seen some years, man.
Wow.
We've seen some battles and struggles of being a creative that you'll notice that we're held together by a little bit, but we are strong because it's a little more distressed.
Love
And
that.
It's just a little funny.
I didn't even notice at first glance with all of these.
Thank you.
That they
Yeah.
would- yeah.
So it's really fun to have those layers of storytelling. And I think that says a lot for where I was able to push it because I haven't done anything at this level.
Right.
Like, I was like, all right, how can I push it farther than I have? And I was like, all right, we got to make this like a puzzle in a way of,
Yeah.
you think you got it. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun to make. And just to show briefly, this is the back card of each of these. So kind of saying, a lot of things that we've already said, talking about the time period that the era represents, and then a little bit about those features that were kind of a big reveal for that time.
Right.
So we have the 2, we have the 5, and this is what the card looks like without the pen too.
Yeah.
So this gives you an idea. Then we have the 10. And just, again, reiterating it just to make sure you know the story. And my hopefully biggest takeaway is you learn a little.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things in kicking off the different creative directions.
Yeah.
This was one where it's like, I want people to learn something from it. It's not just a pen, it's a story. It's like, wait, you have the 40 pen. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Why does it look like that?
And
it's
that'll
like,
be fun in the conference if people are. It's just a great way to identify and start conversations.
It's an easy way to go, and that's what
Yeah.
I've seen in the past. Because this is the 3rd year that this has happened with the pens.
Okay.
So I've witnessed the past few Adobe Maxes where you see that interaction, and I've witnessed where everyone's standing in line to get the pen,
Right.
and it's such a moment where it's like, I got the pen, take
Yeah.
a photo, and
Yeah.
you get to meet the creatives, and I've made friends that way.
Yeah.
And everyone would have these on their shirt. I'm wearing my 15 right here, but it's one of those where, hey, I saw that on your lanyard.
Yeah.
What is that? Where do I get one?
Right.
Then it's like, all right, go to the community booth
Yeah.
on the floor at Adobe MAX.
Yeah.
But it is really good conversation pieces.
Right.
And I think that's something that I really wanted to bring into this.
Yeah. And
'Cause-
at conferences, I feel like the biggest perk of it is meeting people. And
That's one of the biggest ones.
the hardest thing is going up to someone and talking.
So,
And this
it's
gives them that
awkward.
excuse. Yeah.
I'm a little like insecure or like in
Yeah.
my head about it, but it's like this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And worst case, you learn something about another pen,
Yeah.
or at least where to get them.
Exactly.
So it's really fun to help hopefully steer those kind of conversations, and I think we could probably have some of those moments
Yeah.
at Max, because these pens are really eye-catching, and everyone you'll notice will have them on their lanyard. So that's the first thing whenever you see, oh, what's your name? And it's like, oh, there's a pen right beside it.
Yeah.
What's that pen? So you'll hopefully see these around. I hope everyone attending Max. Are you going to be at Max? I hope.
I'm not going to be at Max. I know.
I'm
Not this time.
going to give you one of these
Okay,
pens. But this is a great time for everyone to kind of come together and see these pens live in the world, man. And it should be really fun. So I'm just kind of running through these back card designs just to kind of show you what that language looks like.
Yeah.
And like these little different details of distress, which again, it was a lot of fun. And I think for a lot of the type of design that I gravitate towards, it's very heavily vector and
Yeah.
kind of logo icon design. And this is a great exercise for something like that. So I almost, if you're ever interested in making a lapel pen or enamel pens, just play around with icons.
Yeah.
You know, it's really fun, and if you just think about the size that you're making them, that's the biggest struggle, because you got to realize that, you know, some of these lines have to be a certain thickness,
Yeah.
certain, you know, colors that you could use, using Pantones, things like that. But it's a really fun exercise. I definitely encourage anyone who's a logo designer or just graphic designer, like,
Yeah.
try making some pens. I make pens for fun too.
Yeah.
This is one of my pens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Creative Watch. And it's just one of those where I got to learn to make pens from my own project.
Yeah.
And then when these projects come, it's like, well, I've done these.
And then you see a pin like this and you want to make your own.
And that's
know?
the best part, man.
Yeah.
Get inspired by it.
Yeah.
So we've kind of walked through them all. There's a couple things I do want to look at real quick.
Yeah. Let's check it out.
So this is one of the briefs that I pitched.
Whoa.
Right. So this is like a brief overview of what that looked like in terms of like what each theme could look like, what each icon could be. But ideally, I did about 2. Some of these I went 3 options.
Yeah.
Just depending on how many I had circulating in my
Right.
head. But I made it 2 was kind of what I was trying to pitch each time. So the 40-year pen. You know, in a paradox world, this is where we would have been. But I think we landed on a really good one because it's simple.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I had to remind myself. We're thinking about the 60s. You know, what does design look like back then?
Yeah.
It's really bold. It's that the roots of design.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of work with those parameters. And then I already had in mind like what those different call-out features could be. And you can see that option 2 that got picked had more features in it. So it was like perfect. It's like this
Yeah.
one looks good. Also was able to get a lot of good information there,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
You're selling it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And I think this one even had like the pen tool in it at one point. We ended up
Yeah.
losing that. So yeah, it just goes to show like the evolution of these things are sometimes really fluid, you know? How are we on chat? Is the chat doing good?
Chat's doing good.
Nice.
Everyone's excited about the pins.
Good. I want all the pens.
I want all the
I
pens.
want everyone to have all the pens, but I think you can only have one pen. Which is,
Oh, really?
I think you can only
that
pick
makes
the
sense.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that represents you. So I hope I did it justice. Whatever number that you have, it's the one you want. Which, you know, there's a couple of these where it's like, that's my favorite, but it's
Yeah.
not my year.
Yeah.
So I thought I would show this real quick. So this is like the 40 exploration. But better yet, we talked about mood boards. You know, when I was pitching it, I was thinking about what are styles, because I wanted each one to kind of signify a genre.
Right.
So I'm kind of picking things like, obviously, like the Y2K movement, something like this. And then some of these flat and then more eye-catching poppy-looking colors. It's like, all right, I got to mix that in there.
Right.
This little piece up here with the eyeball, that's what inspired the 40th. I was thinking
Oh, yeah,
very
the
flat. I was thinking all these lines.
cut
I was
up,
like,
yeah.
oh, wait, that's, in a way, that's actually, that's printer's marks and all this other stuff that's in there. So it was really cool to kind of put that together and pitch that first and then get into, this was actually early sketches. So
Yeah.
just to give you an idea, like the 35 pen, you know, like I would never say I'm a great sketch artist, but I can get the idea there. And
Yeah.
that's all that matters. So if you're struggling with drawing, just get the idea out.
Right.
And this is how loose I'll work. And then this is just lead and pencil, you know, in a little notebook of mine. And I'm just doodling here and there and kind of fleshing out some initial ideas, like the 40th. That right there is
Yeah.
pretty close to where we ended up.
You got pretty. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of times first idea is best idea. And then you finesse from there. But oftentimes I'll make 20 versions of
Yeah.
something sketching out, and then the first one is
Yeah.
usually like, okay, let's just go back to that.
Yeah, but it's also good to explore other options, because I will say there's a couple of these where I'm like, this is the one.
Yeah.
I know I can see this one in vector, and I know what the steps are, but I need to make sure.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it takes probably finesse, where it's like when to stop.
Totally. Yeah.
How about you? Do you have like a moment of like, all right, I think I need to
I feel
move
like
on.
knowing when to stop is makes me feel like a professional, where I'm like,
I think that's what makes you a
that's
professional.
because you can finesse all day. you
Yep.
know, for weeks, but you need to
Yep,
know
it's
when to
never
stop.
ending.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly the case here. And the moment of doodling this one and then realizing, all right, put a little star by that one, but let's see some other options, because again, I want to pitch multiple,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure I got the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I definitely did that for the 40th.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other 30s, honestly, 35, I had a lot of fun ideas.
I love the circles, the 3 and the 5 there.
You guys get to see it early. I'm gonna make these little numbers because they're just so fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun making these, and just seeing what the possibilities could be. You know, seeing like the 15 as being like a button.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of indicate more of like the technology aspect, and
Yeah.
I dialed it back drastically from that. But you see like these up here. You know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of exploring it more. Is it a button? Is it not?
Right.
And then eventually I get to like, all right, now it doesn't need to be that.
Yeah.
I think the 10 was one of those early ones where it's like, all right, there's something I can do with a little bit of depth.
Yeah. You have a straight
Certainly.
line and a circle. And you're like, how can I connect that? And then you make 100 versions.
Dude,
You know?
this little guy, like, it took forever because I realized like, all right, there's the Creative Cloud logo. That's
Right.
got my circle I need.
Totally.
How do I get a 1 in there without being 100?
Yeah.
Because there's 2 of those little loops.
Right.
And that was a tricky one, but that one I had to force a little bit to get in there, but it worked out. 35 again. This is like a fun one.
Yeah.
I loved the negative space in that one.
When you're making all of these, did you have, like you just mentioned, the Creative Cloud logo? Did you have kind of a mood board of all of these icons that we're seeing on the side, just for visual reference while you're making?
I did have a separate mood board that was the knowledge of those decades for Adobe.
Okay.
So I worked with an incredible Adobe help who was Jennifer. She helped me pull all this information together, and from that information I was like, all right, what's something to highlight here? And I would circle the ones that felt like symbols,
Right.
felt like numbers, and I was like, those are my go-tos.
Nice.
And the cloud was that. I was like, all right, the cloud, and it's 10. And I'm thinking in that process way. It's like, all right, 10, cloud. All right, cloud's the most important thing that year. That has to be the thing.
Yeah.
How do we make that work? And then that takes like thinking about it and the concept. And a lot of things don't work, but you'll realize like when I dive through this, I knew with the Adobe, check out the old school Adobe logo.
It's pretty much a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where like I started using these grids and lines. And I was like, all right, there's something we can easily get in there for the 4.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it's the same angles. And I was actually pretty close to those
Yeah.
those angles,
Yeah.
which evolved to this. I mean, I think I can, because there was a point where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do an overlay of this thing.
Yeah.
Just to see how close I can get it.
It also looks, I thought it was
It
the
was-
modern Adobe
It's
logo.
very close.
You know.
I did a little skew, but
Yeah.
I wanted it to be that OG one, you know, like that's
Yeah.
the throwback. And I think the reference is there, and then we get into like, all right, do we go fully into print and think about ink? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, and then I'm like, it's like push and pull,
Right.
You know.
I feel like my first thought would have been to do CMYK. Like,
See,
you know.
I didn't even think about that, but I mean that's where it's like sometimes I'm just focused on these, and
Yeah.
I think the time. I
Yeah.
think that's a big variable for any project. Because I could sit here and we can noodle more and more and get it right, and
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden we're out of time,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right,
Someone,
these are good enough.
someone in the chat says, I know when to stop when I reach my deadline. That's kind of
Yeah.
it. You got to set a deadline.
Yeah, that's what makes us professional. We got to stick to those
Deadlines.
deadlines.
Google
man.
Calendar.
I know. But yeah, so the 40th, all these iterations, just to show you a little bit of what it takes to develop these ideas and make them real. And you know, using different ideas for the same mark and seeing like, oh, maybe this one. So I'll drag it down here and explore and like,
Yeah.
yes, no, and then go back to the other one, and,
Right.
and then you know we get to a point. This
Yeah.
is kind of the last one before we sealed it.
Yeah.
But I was really happy with that silhouette. I thought
Yeah.
the silhouette was fun.
I think it's neat how kind of like 4 above the final, you have the O you have multiple O's creating that shape.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
guessing that's what became the lower. So like one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, because I was thinking, wait, what if it's the blend tool that I'm trying to reference? And then I was like, no, wait, it just was so simple. It was like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
these are like printer marks.
Right.
Like these are on like misalignments
Yeah.
in anything with printing. And I was like, oh, well, let's see what that looks like. But ultimately, I simplified it more, and I just went with this more vertical lines.
Right.
And then 35s. Oh man, I did make these. I don't want to show these too much. I'm going to show those in post. But yeah, but I made them. You know what I mean? So
Gotta
it's
make 'em.
moments of I gotta know for sure,
Yeah.
and that's where you have to know that time management of like, do I have enough time to do this?
Yeah.
Did I? No, did not have enough time to do all these, but I made the time somehow, and and we were able to land on some of these really fun ones. I think the 25 was super easy. I was like, all right, that's a no-brainer. I think a website window.
Yeah.
That's all it needs to be.
Yeah. I love when you have multiple things you have to do on a project, and one of them you're like, this is done. Like, check.
Yeah,
Move
I
on.
bet you do that a lot too, because you're doing a lot of covers and things, right?
Yeah,
Book
yeah.
covers. Is there like multiple options you're
Right.
pitching
Doing
at once?
usually like 12 to 20 options. And
Wow.
yeah, and there's some, I love doing like simple just text stuff because you're like, cool, I can give you 5 of
Yeah.
those, and you're probably going to choose the most simple one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully. I mean, there's been times where I've thought that, and then they pick the hardest one.
Yeah, and you're like,
Man.
oh, I actually have to do this now.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to do it, but it's going to be a lot more time.
Right.
Illustrations, I run into that a lot.
Yeah.
A simple one, I'm like, we can get this one out the door
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, so like, I guess jumping back to each of these, and we can briefly go through these before we're out of time, but, you know, looking at these different icons, again, we ultimately landed on some solid choices, but the what ifs are always fun to see, and see some of the different stories. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
That would have been wild.
It's a lot.
But there's a lot of stuff going on. But that was the button idea. We did
Oh,
make
yeah.
it.
That is fun.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool things. Like, look at that. It was
Oh,
not
yeah.
working, but I was trying.
You were trying.
I was trying. That was the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And then I think that one worked really well.
Yeah.
And then we get the 5. 5 had some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2.
Oh, I do like the one on the right.
Yeah, it's like these what ifs.
Yeah.
But I think when it came down to, again, when we started exploring color,
Yeah.
that is just a whole other element too.
Yeah.
Because then you start to really see, oh, I can't read it.
Right.
I
Like
can't read it.
the thickness of that two on the right, probably too small when we're looking at it, especially if it's the only color that's popping.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else, these numbers are so chunky, you know? So you made the
Yeah.
right decision, I think, with the two.
Thank you. Yeah, it's such a trial and error, and really you have to go through that process. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I always say about trusting the process. 'Cause
Yeah.
that means taking those little detours if you have to.
Right.
Um,
Someone says it's heartwhelming seeing other designers work as messy as you.
yeah.
Everyone's messy.
Dude,
We
well,
just hide it.
Look, here's the thing. No one sees this until now.
Yeah.
But as long as you're presenting it well, and I'm not showing all these things, like, this is us.
Right.
This is creatives with creatives.
Yeah.
And just know that you have to create a lot sometimes just to get that real idea that makes it.
Right.
And if you're too organized with that, for me, it would be a hurdle. I would probably spend more time keeping it nice and clean and perfect.
Yeah.
And no one sees it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, work messy, and especially in the file. And honestly, when you get it narrowed down, which I have, this is like V1.
Right.
This was the first send-off. The V2, V3, all this is stripped back.
Yeah.
So I'm deleting everything. I'm cleaning up my artboards,
Yeah.
and we're slowly just crafting the final.
Version 1's, the file is probably like a gigabyte every time.
Oh man, it
That's
was
all of the stuff.
huge.
Yeah.
Because I also had all those reference images and stuff like that in there, so it was really
Yeah.
a treat to make and explore.
Yeah.
But you know, something I also wanted to jump back to is making these is its own thing, but then you have to prep for prep.
Yeah.
And I think you know this really well too,
Yeah.
with book covers, because we have to think about what does the manufacturer see. You
Yeah.
know, what do these look like when we're proofing them, and how do they all look together, and
Yeah.
those little viewpoints really help
Yeah, and talk about
manufacturers.
being clean versus messy.
Gotta
like,
be clean here.
Gotta be clean.
Got to be
Everything's
clean.
organized. Your
Look,
layers.
this
you're
is all we're doing.
Yeah.
We're not doing any funny business.
exactly.
You know, like this is it.
Yeah.
Should have named those 2 layers, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where, yeah, you got to keep it nice and neat because someone else is going to be in this file, and they need to know where's that file name.
Yeah.
They need to know what the front's going to look like, the back's going to look like, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So just something I wanted to quickly show. And I guess we're getting close on
We are
time,
getting close.
but I did want to show a couple cool things about making these back cards. Look at that. That's what we're dealing with. Clipping mask that thing.
Wow.
Because man, I had a hard time with figuring out the bleeds for these
Yeah.
because there's a lot of distortions.
With a grid, especially because you want it to be the perfect grid on
Yeah,
the side. You don't
yeah.
want like a tiny line.
Uh-huh.
And you don't know how
Mhm.
precise the printer's going to be, you
Yep.
know?
So one thing I did have to do was, and for purpose of the stream, we'll do it in this file, but when I was originally making these, I only had my back cards in one file. So whenever I was, let's say, copy and paste to all artboards, great new feature, by the way,
Love
that
that.
puts it on every artboard that you have.
Yeah.
So that you talked about the grid,
Yeah.
the grid's going to now be
Perfect.
dialed in.
Yeah. Which I didn't know the shortcut for what used to be paste in place is now paste on all artboards.
Yeah, which is great.
And I didn't know at first, and I was like, why do all of my artboards have this thing on
Uh-huh.
it? But now I know.
Yeah, dude, I love the new features in the artboard because like even these little guys, the little plus signs,
Yeah.
look at that.
Love that.
Boom or down.
Huge fan.
Like it's so simple, but talk about keeping your file clean.
Yeah.
This makes sense to me. It's like I
Yeah.
do want my boards like symmetrical and
Yeah.
I want the gaps to be the same.
I feel like the UI of Illustrator is the most like, oh, people who actually use Illustrator are designing the features in this.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And honestly, it's another UI where when you master the little simple tools, like the basic tools, it really just opens up
Yeah.
the floodgates because you realize like, oh, they're all compounding tools.
Right.
Then you learn this. It's like, oh, now I can make a grid with the grid tool, or I could just use the blend tool, or
Right.
I can do the same thing 100 different ways.
Yeah.
So like making these back cards, I definitely had to use those features of like duplicating. So I had a strong base because like all these elements are vector, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of mimicking what looks like a crease or a fold on these cards. And you know, some of these aren't completely accurate, but it sells the idea.
Right.
And that's all that mattered. Like maybe you'll see these. Maybe you'll see these. I don't think you see these. But those details, just in case, I wanted them to be present. But I made these little tears here and there, and then things like the folds. You know, that's like its own little piece,
Yeah.
like outline mode. Because these are rounded corners, by the way.
Right.
So if you notice on the back card, they're rounded corners. So everything is kind of an optical illusion.
Yeah.
So it would normally actually, if I bent this,
Actually.
you know, what would that
Yeah.
paper look like? So
You could pre-bend all of them. For
we should do that. It's so immersive. But I think there's a couple little components like that I had to figure out and understand like how would that look if I illustrated it and it was flat. Like I almost scanned it in.
Right.
And I created a couple different of these elements, and once I did one or two, then I would just duplicate it to my other artboards.
Right.
So, like if I was to do, here's what I started with. I should just do that. So I did copy. I told you I was like paste to all artboards. So I had 9 total. So I had 9 artboards in my original document. And then after I made the 40th, I scaled everything back.
Okay.
So then I would go in for like, let's say this is the 35. And I'm like, all right,
Get that out of there.
I'm going to do slightly less.
Yeah.
And then I might rearrange these bins. So I'm using the same element so we don't have to reinvent the wheel constantly. Because, again, there's also this little tape element, which is vector.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest change amongst all of them.
They're in different positions.
So I wanted to make sure these were on these are more unique. So these are all vector. These are just made with like some gradient meshes and the pen tool.
Right.
And then I just kind of placed these in different places that made the most sense. What's that? And then I maybe change the position of the shadow, so it feels like it's where it should be. And then whatever would peek through, it'd be like that. And then I'd clipping mask all these once I'm finished.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get your different evolution of what those distress features look like.
Right.
And to make the bleed, I mentioned it. I don't have the bleed file here. It was bananas. It was so hard to wrap my head around
because it's round.
Yes, you know exactly, because I had to figure out like, well, technically it should be like this, so that if it does print further, then you would still have that, I guess,
angle.
Yeah, I guess the angle, or there's like the illusion, I guess.
Right.
Like it's continuous to nowhere.
Right.
Which is the black. So I had to figure that out, and I had to do that, with the tape. So the tape would just simple with the clipping mask.
Yeah.
But all these little dark shapes, just know when you see these in person, there's like a graphic that does like some crazy stuff like this.
Yeah.
Off to the side and the margins of bleed. It's like that. That's about what it had to be. Which is, again, you know very well too, with just printing like covers and what those bleed margins have to look like, and maybe it changes your design a little bit just to get it to work.
Right. And especially if you have a texture or something, or in Photoshop you have a clipping mask and you're like, oh, I have to adjust the mask and make sure that, like, if I have a gradient, it flows all the way through.
Gradients that's the hardest one to do. Yeah.
Make it look seamless.
Because just wherever it gets cut, it's going to be slightly different from where it was before.
Yeah.
With that gradient. But yeah, so like that's kind of how I was able to piece these together, and honestly, it was very similar to this craziness. Whenever I delivered it, I mean, the grids went further out, but it was cool to not only learn something about the production side of. That was probably the most extreme bleeds I've ever had to do, of like technicality of how would that look. But it was really exciting, because now I understand, I'll do some craziness like this. Yeah. And then like that would be my bleed, just in case it goes further away. Yeah. But yeah, each back card was designed in Illustrator. Each of the this is when I paste everything to artboards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Sometimes it catches you by surprise.
And then some extra layers I did add. So when you see these at the booth at Max, there's gonna be a little kiosk, and everyone can come and just get a pen. It's that simple. And there will be a sign that shows this of all the pens that exist, and a little bit of the backstory like this. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, let's keep it in that same world. So I created these fun little margins. Yeah. So it was like, all right, I don't know about you, but whenever I'm drawing, and maybe you saw some of the sketches earlier, I'll just make some little doodles on the side if it's another idea, different day. Right. But I wanted it to feel like that. So I've got a lot of little clowning around moments happening.
This guy on the right looks like over the garden wall.
This little guy, yeah. Dude, funny enough, reused him. I created him with on a stream with Kurt Wallace. We did some really fun illustrations. I was like, I'm gonna use my original sketch. Yeah. Which is really fun. So bringing it all into a seamless world, hopefully, and I hope everyone enjoys them. I know it's been really fun to not only make these, but kind of give back in a way, I hope, because each of these are representing huge milestones. Like we mentioned, 40 years. Yeah. 40 years in a program. I hope I can get to 40 years. That's so long. And it's impressive, because you've seen so much change in the industry. And I think a lot of these pens hopefully remind us of those. And I think what we can talk about is how each of these moments are things to remember, and we can change. Right. Like, what does the next evolution of, the 80s look like? Yeah. When it gets brought back into, I don't know, 2030. Yeah. So it's a little lesson of learning some of the past, but also, here's where we are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we're wrapped on time, but thanks for showing us all of your work, the behind the scenes. They look great. I think it's going to be really exciting when you see people with these at Max.
Oh man, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I hope if you see me walking the floor, I'll be actually giving a talk at Adobe MAX. So
Nice.
I hope to see you in the crowd for my session. Come up, let's chat, let's talk pens, and I love talking about this process. So I think it's a lot of fun to share these moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. This has been really fun.
Yeah, we'll be on in a few minutes with another hour.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you're up. Are you up next?
That's right. We're
Yeah.
swapping seats, I think.
Swapping seats, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. All right. Thanks again, everyone.
All right.
We're going to talk about one of the most exciting things to hit Illustrator in a long time. It is Turntable.
Let's dive into the world of Turntable. The inspiration that the team had when we were talking about last year about like what is it that we can use AI to speeden up and accelerate your workflows. One of the most common things that we've heard over the years is this painstaking task of redrawing a character or even an artifact which in multiple viewing angles. How do we use AI or the tech that we have to predict depth and form? We really notice and we take care and we observe all the feedback that you give us as a community in all different channels. I think there's a lot of misconception like AI is going to like take over the creation aspect of illustrations. But what we've been trying internally and doing our best is making sure that we are assisting you doing it. And that's where Turntable became what it became. So if you have a selection with different parts not grouped together, like this one, make sure that you group them. You can do it by Command G. Once it's grouped, you'll see Turntable showing up. So you can access Turntable in your Properties panel under Transform section. I will click on this. You will observe that there is this bar that shows up at the bottom. It's a slider which lets you rotate around an axis. It's a gap of 15 degrees, so you have 15, 30, 45. We have till 120 on one side of the axis. Similarly, if you go on the other side, we've got same distance, but on the other side, so it's minus 120. The other rotation that you can do is elevation up, where it's almost like you're turning the camera up, bring it down again. This is almost like a bird's eye view sort of a thing. The camera is on top. This is a button called Reset, which it resets wherever you started from. This is your original art. Only in the rotations are those additional views that get created. We do not touch your input art at all. So if you ungroup this, you'll come back to your original art. The next idea, I think this was amazing because we have a really active pre-release community and we were working with them. And one of the core usability issues that they had early on pointed us as like, I have this rotation. I keep rotating this selection. I want to like compare these poses. We took that and we did a couple of updates. The first one was like insert view, which means whatever view you like, it duplicates the view for you on the side. So if I like, for example, this view and I say insert view, it'll get added on the right because I chose the right direction for it to get added. This is what the view I love using and testing with. A workaround that I do, because again, I'm testing it, is that I duplicate this instance, I ungroup it, and then I apply Turntable on it again. So if I do that, now this is the starting point for Turntable and I can get all the back poses now. That's the hack that I do. The artwork needs to be really clear and isolated. Things like which have a real world object reference, like a face, a human, an apple, it can understand and it can then do its best to add appropriate volume. So if you rotate, it can make it like a face. It knows there are 2 ears. And here also, it did a good job. They're fun to explore and just see how much you can stretch it. Now I'll come to things where I've heard the team is also aware that there are these scenarios where Turntable can give you unpredictable results. One is if there are simple shapes, it may not do a great job. Second, if you are selecting with a background or a very complex art, it will do its best, but again, it's unpredictable. The third one is where the selection is a little abstract that you don't know what the object is and how much depth it needs to have. And that's where it will do some sort of like guesswork.
please, if you want to join in the conversation, head to every forum we're on. We've got the Adobe Community Forum, we've got the Illustrator subreddit, we have User Voice, Illustrator on Discord. Yeah, we're all there. We would love to hear your thoughts, how you're using it, how it could be improved. The community really drives the impact of these developments. But yeah, get in the beta, test it out.
And definitely give us feedback even in beta.
Yeah.
You have thumbs up, thumbs down. That also gives us a good indication of what is working, where it's not working, and you can give us detailed feedback inside the application as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening in. Thank you, Luke, for having me.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Jack, and this time I am joined by Elijah. Elijah is a book designer,
That's right.
and you work for Penguin?
Penguin and also freelance, but mostly Penguin.
Nice. So
Yeah.
I guess we kind of share a similar background.
Yeah.
I also worked in the textbook industry specifically,
Okay.
so a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
Your work?
Yeah, book designer with Penguin, my dream job. I love it. I love doing stuff like this where I can share the behind the scenes of what it's like to get a brief and make a project. And people are really excited about it whenever I bring it up. So it's really nice to have like an environment that I can share it and it's really well done. And we have like someone setting up cameras and angles and it's all here. So I'm excited to get into it.
And you're going to show us a little bit of that today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome.
I think the most asked question I get is, what is your process like? So I'm going to get into that.
It is a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
It's the industry as a whole, I would
To
say.
me as well, it's
Yeah.
still a mystery. It's different every time.
We got a bunch of people joining us in the chats.
Hello.
We got Penny, we got Oliver, Robert. Welcome back, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions for Elijah or I. And you're going to show us some of your work as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
So I just wanted to brief this with, I did this last year and I showed exactly my process. And that video is there for people who want to see it. This time I'm going to kind of show what it's like when a client doesn't know how they want to position their work. And I have to explore different genre styles. I I'm going to talk about 3 of them, and I'll go into detail and I'll show you my process, mood boarding for these, getting into the files, what it feels like to work in different genre styles. The first thing I get is a brief. We don't have to read all of this specifically, but this is just kind of showing what I'm handed from a client. I'll get the title, the subtitle, the author, a brief description. This is a fake book that I made up specifically for getting into for something like this. This would be kind of like a social science book. Think Atomic Habits, or really anything that has to do with science, but like we're gonna get into these 3 different types of presenting this book. So these are the images that...
Love this.
Love this. We love public domain imagery. People did all the hard work for us already, and we're gonna give it a new life, which is kind of my favorite thing to do. I'm not always creating from scratch. But if we go back to this, the cells that make up life. So these are all cells. And I'm gonna try to restrict us and say, let's pretend that the client gave us these specific illustrations and they said, make something with this.
See
So
a little bit of meiosis there in the middle.
possibly meiosis. What is that? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Nice. Nailed it.
It's in there. So this is
Ooh.
the big book look that I'll be showing you guys. This is my mood board for that. If you don't know the big book look, it's like you walk into a bookstore. It's usually on a shelf. It's usually very, very type heavy. The text is huge. It's either black or white. There's a bold color. Very minimal images and elements that you're working with. It's very type heavy because you're selling the title of the book or the author. You have like Stephen Hawking is a huge name, so his name is on the top. It's going to be the first thing you read. These are things that are on my mind when I'm making something like this. What are we selling? Are we selling the author, the subtitle, or the title? The client will let you know that, but in these different genres, we're going to see how that presents itself differently. Like university press, usually you're selling the concept. So like, look how small it is on this bottom one. What is important is that the artwork is showing itself because you're selling a concept. You're not necessarily selling a title like you might be up here. This, you can see how compared to the big book, the text is huge here. Here it's much tinier. It's in the background, and it's not necessarily the focus.
I see one of my favorite books there, and you're hovering right over it.
Oh, this one here?
Yes.
Yes. See, you can't even read the text as a thumbnail, but it doesn't really matter because the design catches your eye, I have very strong thoughts about the size of text, and, a lot of clients will say it has to be visible as an Amazon thumbnail.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense. But sometimes if the design's good enough, that will catch people's eyes. Like here you can see that you have art elements interacting with the text, sometimes going over the text. That just kind of proves my point that with a university press, you're selling a concept. You're not necessarily selling the title of the book or the author. Lastly, literary fiction, which is kind of the more fun stuff to design. I think if anyone watching thinks about book design, they probably want to do something like this where it's very artistic, kind of abstract, ambiguous. You'll see that I got rid of the subtitle on this one because if we look here, none of these have subtitles. They're all stories. They're all pretty abstract. They don't really show characters. They don't show a specific image. It's very open to interpretation, which is the most fun stuff to design. It's just kind of up to you. And it's really fun to get requests like this from clients because you're kind of just getting a blank canvas and they say, make it look cool, do what you want, you're the creative. I've noticed that a lot with Penguin. They kind of just give you free rein, and especially for the first round, they're like, you're the creative, make it look good. If it's not working, we'll go from there.
And that was actually going to be
Yeah.
one of my first questions. Not to sidetrack you, but
No.
you prefer to work in fiction over nonfiction?
It-
That's the...
I think a balance of it.
Okay.
Sometimes like fiction, it's really heavy because you're making so many different options, and they all have to be distinct and different. And usually with fiction, they're like, we want this to be the biggest book out there. And it's very hard to come up with like something that feels fresh and new, and is legible and
Very important to Penguin.
very important. Yeah,
We were talking about the branding a little bit
right.
earlier, and I guess that's another follow-up question: is how beholden are you to their branding when you are creating these covers?
It's-
This is a very
they're-
project to project.
It's project to project, but when we get into, like, if we're doing a hardcover that's brand new, Penguin stuff doesn't show, they often don't have quotes on the hardcover, you know? They want the book to sell itself just for the title, subtitle, and author. So the Penguin branding isn't really existent there, which I like that they're really pushing authors' work and letting the story sell itself. But when you get to paperback, that's when they're throwing on the Penguin logo, which is really fun. Like the first time I got to do that, it felt very cool. Like when it has the Penguin logo, you're like, oh,
It's legit now.
it's legit
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it's a Penguin book. That's very fun.
So is this what we're going to be working on today? Take a
So
look at?
yeah, I showed the covers already, and then I'll just recreate them in Photoshop or in Illustrator,
Okay.
and kind of dive into my process for doing that.
And so you work across Illustrator and Photoshop? Is there
Yeah.
you use one for something specific and
Yeah, I often use both or have both open at the same time. Same with InDesign. I usually have InDesign open also. But I guess in a situation like this where I wanted to get these tiny dots, I knew Illustrator would be the way to go. I had a video on my profile about a year ago where I made these designs, and
your Instagram?
on my Instagram, that's right, for another Adobe video. I was showing the generate image feature, which I'll see if we can replicate it, because as you know, with AI tools like this, sometimes they can be, when they're generating stuff, it's different every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is very nice when you have ideas, but if I want something that's like, no, this is the look that I want, you're gonna have to reference an image. And let's just do that. Let's
Sounds
show.
So
So
while you're working through that, there is a question here about, I think it's similar to what I was just asking. Do you start with sketching before getting into Photoshop?
right.
Or like where do you kind of start in this process?
Yeah, so I kind of start, I'll go back to my little business over here. When I get a project, I'm just going into the mood board. Like the first thing I do if
So
I'm
mood
getting
board
this
right
brief,
into the app, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't really sketch physically. A lot of people do that.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm not a physical sketcher either.
I'm not good at drawing. I'm good at tracing if I need to draw. And like if I'm illustrating, my style is very minimal because that's what I can do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's just nice to know that someone else just dives right into the app.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure. I'm very like, I have my mood board. I'll take notes. I like
Yeah.
to take a lot of like text notes,
Right.
but not a lot of sketching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll take this and I'll copy it into a note and I'll like bold words that
Yeah.
stand out to me visually, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
but I'll get right into Pinterest and I just mood board. I'm constantly referencing these. At the end of this, I was going to make a note. We'll get to that at the end. But I'm constantly referencing these and kind of doing research on like the market, the genre, so that I'm giving the client what they want in a way, but then you also have the freedom to make what you want as the designer. I think it's important to leverage that and know that you're having fun with it. Because if you're not having fun, the design's gonna not look inspired. So remember that the client hired you to make something with your design eye. So trust your instincts. And then maybe later you can mold it to specifically fit what they're looking for.
Nice.
So here you could very easily like make, I guess not very easily, make all these dots would take forever. Like if I'm just going like that and I want them all to vary in size, you see how long this would take. And I want them to be perfectly in here. So thanks to this generate feature, where are we here?
I think it's in the object menu. There you go.
Gen shape
Maybe.
fill.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for. So originally I did like tiny dots, let's say varied in size. Let's do tiny black dots.
And do you go into the color and tone and change the settings at all?
I don't mess with the color and tone because
Okay.
At least for this specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I want it to be black and minimal, so I did the detail, dropped it down to minimum.
Gotcha. So that's what's going to get you the result that you're kind of looking for.
Right.
Is that the detail slider?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the shape strength, I had to look up what that meant, and it's how it's retaining the shape of this E, which makes sense. I love that that's a feature. So we can generate and see how that comes up. We might have to reference this to get that
Use
exact.
the eyedropper and pull the style reference. Yeah.
Exactly, which also a great feature. Makes things so easy.
Annika's joining us. Allison, do you know Allison France? Saying, oh my God, I'm his biggest fan.
Oh, I don't know you, Allison, but hello.
And Carter also. Carter
Is
Nelson.
Allison from France, or do you think that's her last name?
I don't know. Let us know, Allison. It looks like maybe the third one. Can't
Third one kind of gets there.
closer. Yeah.
But yeah, in this
Quite,
case,
quite uniform.
right. It's great to reference. And I showed my screenshot here. I just Googled tiny black dots. And originally,
Nice.
like, to get these, that's exactly what I did. I just referenced this, and there we go, tiny black dots. And then, luckily, you can copy exactly this into Photoshop. So, we'll
As
take
paths.
that.
You're going to like paste them as paths?
Yeah, and maybe in a case like this, I'll do a smart object because I don't really see myself needing to get each individual dot. You know, it might be like really heavy on my computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this case,
And you can also copy paths from Photoshop into Illustrator
Right.
as well. So you
I
can kind
love
of work
that.
back and forth.
I feel like that's a relatively new thing in the past few years. It didn't always used to be like that. Okay, so
Reverb Mike is saying, make it funky.
make it funky. Okay, we'll see how funky we can make it.
I feel like we're already a little funky. It's giving like Petri dish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is big time. So you can see that I tightened. I always misspeak when I say kerning and tracking and letting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, though. I tightened all of that to get this. I'm gonna drag that over. Let's get the title up here.
Kerning and tracking are very similar, and I'm going to probably mess it up, but kerning is the spacing across the whole word, and tracking is individual. Somebody's going to correct me
Someone's
if I'm
gonna
wrong.
correct us.
Yeah.
I feel like in my head I want to say kerning.
be
Kerning
the
goes with
opposite.
character,
Okay,
but
maybe
that
it's the
could
opposite.
be false.
I like that you have like a mnemonic device to
Yeah.
remember it. Or
Exactly. I need it. That's really easy. We just copy it in there, change the color, because here there's often always like a cream or white cover, and I don't want to just like straight rip Atomic Habits, even though this design is pretty much ripping off Atomic Habits for the sake of this video. But that's really all it is with these big books. The title has a really big emphasis. We're gonna do number 1, New York Times bestseller, because this is a big book and they're gonna have that byline on it.
we do have another question when you
Yeah.
are ready. It's a big one.
Okay.
And it's how you get started in the book industry. Do you start with
Right.
freelance work, or do you make a portfolio with like personal projects?
Yeah. So when I was starting out, I did a lot of fake covers. I think it's a dress for the job you want situation. In my case, like, I remade, once I knew that I wanted to get into book design, I remade all of these books that I had read into my own style, and my whole portfolio was books. So that I remember when I got hired by the first studio I worked at FaceOut, my boss was like, you doing this shows that you're interested in the industry, that you understand genre standards, and that you care enough about your designs to mock it up, put it on a website that looks really nice. And it just shows that you understand and care about working here. So things like that do matter. Like, instead of just posting a flat image, like, mock it up, make it look as good as possible, show that you put effort into it, because your work deserves that, especially if you're putting time and energy into it when you're not getting paid for it. People are going to notice that. Clients are going to notice that. Publishing specifically is a really hard industry to get your foot in the door. A lot of designers I know seem to have gone to school in New York, done an internship with a publisher, and that's how they got their in. I just got really lucky because there was a local design studio, and that's kind of how I got my feet wet. But it's really a non-linear path. There's so many different ways I've heard about people landing into book design. People are my age, people are 40 or 50. Art directors have been doing it for years, or they're new to books specifically. Like, there was one art director I did who was a comic artist in newspapers. And he's like almost 60 years old, and now he's doing art direction and book design. It's like, oh, hi, Eli. That's an old friend of mine.
Yeah, you got a couple of people in the chat. Elita, let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, loves your Instagram videos.
Thank you.
Andy's got a meme. Kerning is important.
Okay.
Yeah. We all know that meme.
Where's the meme? I don't see it.
Well, there's no pictures in the chat,
Oh,
but
okay.
you've seen it before with, like, when the letters
Oh,
are
I
too
see.
close together and they make different words.
Now I understand. Yeah.
And Oliver is correcting me. Kerning versus tracking. Kerning is between pairs. Tracking is across words. So
Okay.
yes, we had it right, but maybe not quite right.
Thank you, Oliver.
Yeah, it's so interesting, the publishing industry. I think one of the things that when I first started, was kind of eye-opening is I didn't do a lot of print in school, but that's obviously a huge part of the industry. And so I had to, like, learn on the job everything about, like, setting files up for print and, like,
Right.
pre-flighting files, which is not something you go over in school. It's, like,
Right.
a whole new experience.
I was also I was thrown into that on my first job. Like, I lied about knowing how to use Illustrator. I was 18.
Nice.
And only knew how to use Photoshop. Straight up lied to them. And my boss, after I got the job, he was like, fake it till you make it. Like, as long as we're not behind and you get the job done, eventually, like, do your thing.
Yeah,
Which
right.
is a very gracious response.
That's awesome.
But yeah, pre-flight and all of that, like, luckily at Penguin, I don't have to do any of that. There's a whole team that I just hand my files off to, and they optimize it for print, and, like, it's amazing what they do when you get your files back and they're, like, more vibrant. They just really optimize is the word for it. Like, they make it look as good as possible.
Yeah.
And it's magic to me, like, it pre-flight and all of that. It's also not very fun. Like, it's kind of strenuous a lot of times.
It's a lot to check, and sometimes it requires a lot of like going in and manually changing things
Right.
to fix them. Things like ink coverage.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with the vibrancy. There's kind of like two ways.
Right.
You could, like, do some stuff with overprinting, or a lot of publishers that I've worked with have their own, like, color profiles
Yeah.
for their printers.
Yeah.
So if you work with a specific printer, sometimes they'll have their own color profile, and that can help you kind of preview in Illustrator what it's going to look like
Right.
when it prints, and you can get a better idea of, like, what color range you have to work with.
Yeah, and ink density. I had to learn about that, which another thing that I want to talk about. So Command Y, you'll see up here we have RGB. Command Y gets us into CMYK, or it doesn't actually change your file, it just previews it in what it would look like as print. And you can see that this blue gets really dull.
Is this only Photoshop?
This is just Photoshop.
I wish this lived in Illustrator.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
would be
handy
very
little,
nice.
That's a handy little tool.
Yeah, I'm constantly doing that. I'll show us between all the other projects that I'm showing here why that's really important. But You might have a client say, hey, it's popping a lot, but I'm seeing the proof when it prints, and it just like
Sucks the life out of it.
sucks
Yeah.
the life out of it. In this case, I think it still looks pretty fine. In a later one, I'll show you what we have to do when that becomes a problem. But this is pretty much the design. At this point, I have my type set up. I think it's really nice to note like kerning or leading, whichever one. Like a big thing is your generic type, like when you write it and you have zeros everywhere, it's not appealing. Like it puts a lot of emphasis on the bottom. It's really big. I think in publishing a lot, just like spreading out the subtitle, giving it room to breathe, helps it feel more official. And it's crazy how much of a difference that makes when you're working with type hierarchy. Like in this case, say the author is pretty big, so we're going to keep that in black. But the subtitle and the byline, maybe we can change that to white because we don't need it to read as fast. We want the subtitle to, not stand out as much as the main title. Maybe we can do some kind of gray. I often take the background color and do something like that and kind of split the difference between white and black. But in the final, we just ended up with black. This is a really easy cover to do. This is kind of like the template for Big Book that I usually start here. And then if we want to get funky, like Reverb Mike says, we can mess with colors. And let's see. I was playing with, like, if we change this to white, let's change these again to gray.
Lisa says this is gorgeous.
Love that.
Cinnamon
Thank you, Lisa.
Flakes is thanking you for answering the question about getting started.
Yeah.
Juan admires you
Oh, thank you, Juan.
with a little heart.
Thank you.
Do you do a lot of, with hardcover, do you do a lot of like specialty printing?
I wish. Budgets are slim these days.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Like, kind of the most you'll get is like an emboss, which these dots would look really cool if they were embossed.
So I was just thinking.
Yeah. Or like foil. I love when I can get a foil anytime. Spot gloss is probably like the most consistent one. Like on the title or on the text for any cover, usually you're gonna get a spot gloss on a hardcover, which, it's better than nothing.
For sure. It also is like that little bit that will set, you have to decide if like it's worth it to set your book apart. Like
Right.
if you really want something to stand out on the shelf.
Exactly. I'll move on from this design real quick, but here we see that there's kind of a gradient. I think sometimes gradients will date this to look like it's from like 2008 or something, but sometimes it can look really clean and work and give some type of depth. So like if I didn't want a solid color here, and this isn't really funky, but this is as funky as I think maybe this design could benefit from. We'll go really light, and I'm just gonna make a vignette. I believe that's the word. So I'll invert that. And it just, it gives it a little life. Depending on the client, they might like that, they might not. If you got a shine on this, I think it would look really nice. Yeah, spot gloss UV coat is nice without budget purchasing. Exactly. That's pretty much a guaranteed for any project I'll work on. We're gonna do those.
Jen has a question for you. And do you do podcast album art?
I've done podcasts and album art, but I don't really advertise it.
Okay. They're asking if there's a different
Yeah.
approach to each.
Yeah, I would say podcast and album art, or they can be a lot more abstract, which is neat. Like you're not always. My favorite albums don't really show the text.
Right.
It's usually a photo or like an artistic inspiration. I kind of like when there's no words that kind of leave your mind to the imagination. But not all covers are like that. And a podcast, you're of course going to need that. Podcast is interesting because it's so small.
Yeah.
Like I'll
really
probably be
tiny.
I'll probably be making it at this size or looking at it while I'm making it, just making sure that everything is clear and legible.
But I think even this, like you were talking, this is very clear and legible.
It works, yeah. And so, like if this was going to be an audiobook, this could work because it looks really tiny, or it works when it's really tiny.
Lisa's saying this is a color test, like a...
Yeah, it does look like a color test, color blind test.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Let's move on to one of those other
Sure.
ones. So let's go to the literary fiction zone. I love working with different color options when I really love a design. And I messed with this, which is kind of fun.
That's very bold. Like the first one feels very vintage.
It feels very vintage working with the style of this already, but if you wanted to like make it really pop, these colors kind of get you into big book territory. And a lot of university presses, they want like a quieter cover that's not screaming at you. So vintage stuff works really well for university presses, which maybe I would send them these options. Changing that to cream kind of has a nice effect that retains this sort of muted tone. But then we get into Command Y territory. Takes all of the mojo out of the design.
Greens like that are notoriously difficult to reproduce.
Right. And if the client can't afford like a Pantone or anything, then I probably wouldn't send this to them because I don't want to get their expectations up.
I'm not even sure if you could stretch Pantone that intense.
Right, yeah. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So that might be why we stick with this design, because it is more muted. It sticks with the original colors of this illustration, which I'll throw that original one in here real quick.
I think that leading into that also kind of, it works for the story that you're telling, right? With the imagery, it really like harkens back to the source material.
Yeah,
I think.
And it lets the source material do the talking instead of trying to like, what's the word? Not suspend. It's not coming to me. It's okay. But to get these circles, they're already lined up very easily for me. All I did was use the object selection tool, and it makes our life so easy.
Do you use a lot of like public domain imagery like this in your work, or?
Yeah, I like using public domain stuff because I like the style of it. It often is like pretty minimal, and it's just so detailed. But with clients specifically, if they have a low budget, I'll just go to public domain. I won't even mess with stock stuff because they have a low budget, and I think they always appreciate when you're mindful of that.
Budgets are a big deal in publishing, especially if we're working with like not an established author, like a new author. It's going to be something you have to take into consideration.
Exactly. You have to pay to license each individual image, the
can get very expensive.
The fonts, and if you're using stuff on the spine or the back, sometimes you have to pay more to license it. It's a whole thing, which a lot of self-published authors that I've worked with don't realize that, and you're going to pay me money, but then also you're going to have to pay to license all of these, which might be as much as you're paying me.
Yeah.
That's really all there is to this design, just cutting these out, adding the text, moving these around. Really simple.
There's a question in the chat from Andy. Been seeing more motion graphics work, sorry, my brain, in editorial online publications. Is this on the rise in e-publishing for book covers? Have you seen any motion graphics work?
Motion graphics are, I think, really big. Like when 3 years ago or sometime during COVID, there was an entire motion graphics position that was hiring for, I think, Penguin. But I got to the second or third round of the interview, and there was a miscommunication on the job posting. And they said, "Oh, I'm seeing all your cover work. Where's the motion graphics?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Oh, this is a motion graphics position."
Gotcha.
But all that to say, there are entire positions dedicated to that. And it's stuff that you'll see in like Barnes & Noble or Target on TVs, like advertising displays, just kind of giving it a little bit of life. And in a way, in my videos, that was the goal. Like I don't know how to use After Effects and animate. And so the easiest thing for me to do when I make my videos is just to like, I feel like I'm giving away secret sauce here. But like,
Speaking of secret sauce, while you're thinking about that, we've also got a question about what public domain sites you use.
Public domain sites. Honestly, like Google is really great because you can filter images to Creative Commons. And I mean, you double check your sources like when you go to the actual web page, but that is usually a really good starting point. Public domain, also Wikimedia Commons is fantastic. Their search function isn't really great, but I'm often led to them through Google. And you can reverse image search something you find on Google, like to specifically check Wikimedia Commons, which is something I often do because there are sites like Bridgman or Alamy that will have, say, a painting or illustrations like these. They'll have them listed on their site, and you have to pay to license those. But Google will often have the same thing that you don't have to pay to license, which is a tricky thing. Like if you know a work is 200 or 300 years old like this, there probably is a free version of it somewhere. But when you're licensing on like Alamy or Bridgman, don't quote me on this, this is just my knowledge of it, but they, like their version of that, maybe they scanned it really high quality, much more than Google. You're gonna have to pay for their very high quality version of it. That's my knowledge of public domain stuff. There's also like New York Public Digital Library, I think is what it's called. Their search function is really great. They have a lot of things you can filter. Also Library of Congress. I think those are all my public domain sources. But
We got a recommendation in the chat. I know this website, but I don't know that I'm gonna get it right.
Rijik Museum.
Yeah.
Um,
Rijik Museum.
I don't
Is
know.
that
I'm sure it's great.
I feel like Denmark? It's like someplace in Europe.
The
It's
J is giving me Iceland
maybe.
vibes. Could be.
I know I've been on their website before. You were talking about animation, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with motion graphics in my videos, like these are all separate layers, and I'll hide them all like that. I'll also do it for the text sometimes individually, which is kind of a pain because you have to separately do like every letter in its own clipping mask. But then I'll screen record, and you go, and then I'm just pressing Command Z.
Oh my gosh, what a great,
Like,
low-tech way to do it.
Get animation out of here. I don't want to be in Premiere After Effects stressing over this. Like, there it is. There's my video. And then I just go like,
Nice.
that's how I make my videos. I snap. That's the whole thing.
Secret sauce right here.
That's the secret sauce. People ask me, and I'm like, I feel like if you pay close attention, that's like, that is, you're like, oh yeah, it's actually really obvious. It's right in front of me. But yeah, anyways, that's my extent of motion graphic knowledge. And they say it's Dutch.
Dutch.
It's a Dutch museum.
Okay. Penny says, works for me. McKenna says the snapping is impressive. Very impressive.
Killer snap.
And yeah, Andy's got a suggestion. You can bring your Illustrator layers in After Effects and animate just by layering them in the timeline.
Oh,
So maybe something to look into in the future.
your strategy is way faster. Maybe you can look into that in the future. But I'm all about speed.
Yeah.
Speed and ease of use. Like when I was making the, what's it called? The video for this, when I posted that I was doing a design process thing, like it's just in Illustrator and I have all of these artboards and I just recorded myself doing the artboard. Like, we'll go like that and I'm just clicking down. Like I'm not trying to do animation. I just want it to be easy, as
Yeah.
easy as possible. So
I mean, I feel that when it comes to like making content,
right.
sometimes it's like a slug. So
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. Let's get into these final other designs. Maybe I'll bypass this one for now.
Okay.
An old one that I was kind of going to show the process of making, but this one is a little more interesting to talk about.
Okay.
With lit fix stuff, these are all very artistic. It's kind of up to you to make it look like what you want it to look like. These, you can see a lot of circles. I know that I'm working with circles. I'm just kind of seeing how they treated their circles. Like it's interacting with text. It's covering this person's eyes. Here, it kind of looks like a sunrise. I love this fake accounts one where these are squares and in person they're embossed and shiny. And it's so rare that you can get something approved where the artwork is on top of the text, but it's so big that it was allowed here and they got it printed, and I'm very jealous that they made that because I love this cover.
Now, when you're looking for these kind of putting together these mood boards,
Yeah.
do you have something kind of in mind that you're looking for when you're doing this?
I think Pinterest is interesting because you'll go through these rabbit holes. For this case, I went specifically looking at books. Oftentimes I'll look at like paintings or just random designers who are making something that's not related to books. Usually you get better out of the box ideas like that. But with this, I knew that I had circles, so these will focus on circles. I knew that gradients would kind of give this life because all of these illustrations that I was given are flat. And I thought maybe I can like turn this into a gradient. That could be a nice sort of way to make it feel modern. And I think gradients do that really well. It's easy to make gradients look tacky, but if you do it tastefully, I think you can get some like really clean, modern looking stuff that really work for this genre. So I'm kind of, when I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh, how are they treating this gradient? How is the type set up? You can see that like the type is different on all of these. There's really no rules in this genre for where the type has to be, how legible it is, which is why it's the most fun to make. Yeah, so those are the things I'm kind of aware of. I'm kind of just seeing what elements I have and how other people are treating that, and that gives me ideas of what I can do. So here, you can see that, let's get into these layers and start from the beginning. I really like this font. It's big in...
Yeah, the like inkwells, the
ink
filled
wells.
inkwells.
Love that. And
nice.
the extended characters. It just gives it a little personality. It still feels a little basic, which I think works well here. I've got the cell, which I just...
And I see your inspiration. You're letting it there overlap a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. And we've got the cell, which I just masked out, and then I copied it into here. Copy and paste, and then made it black and white so it became really clear with that color. And I like that it runs through the text here a little bit, which kind of gives it some dimension. With the light leaks, I think that gives it a nice, again, dimension. Like if this is printed out and it has some kind of gloss on it, it'll be, I think, just really fun to interact with. I think books like this, like you have the dots going off on the spine. I really like stuff that encourages you to interact with the package, especially with books. It's very easy to just make the cover, but I'm really trying to challenge myself to like have something that makes you want to flip the page or turn the spine, or like Flashlight here, it's sideways. Like would not have occurred to me to just flip it sideways, and it gives it a whole another perspective that I like.
You're just trying to make the viewer curious.
Yeah.
When they see these covers, like you're giving enough, like that somebody might want to learn more about what you're putting on the shelf, kind of thing.
Which I think is exactly what a book cover should be. Like, you want to capture the tone of a book. You don't want to throw the story. I think my biggest pet peeve with book covers is like when it's a scene. It's like a photo of someone and they're turned around and you see the back of them and it looks like a movie scene. Like,
Well, it's like a movie trailer. Like
like a
some
movie trailer.
trailers, it's
Yeah.
like you told me the whole story, right?
Right.
Versus like others.
Give me
Good.
a taste.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, exactly. So I often make that comparison with book covers where like, I just want you to vaguely see what the tone is about. Like this looks a little bit ethereal. Obviously, if this was a fiction book, it wouldn't be about cells. Maybe it's about like scientists who fall in love or something. I don't know. But
It does kind of give that.
it has a bit of a love vibe to it, which is kind of why I like how abstract it is. It can be about anything. And I really think book covers, their only job is to grab your attention, because if you grab someone's attention, then they're going to flip to the back or they're going to open it.
Right, and read that synopsis.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to do that. You don't need to give them all the cards on the front of the book in the movie trailer. You don't need to tell them everything that's going to happen.
Yep.
You're just grabbing their interest. And so what better way to do that than just make it look good? That's all there
Just
really
make
is
it
to
look
it.
good.
Just make it look good.
Make it
You can
look
quote
cool.
me on that. Yeah, and so when I'm combining my inspiration, trying to make it into something that looks new and not just copying something, like I'm taking the colors from colored television, the pink and the red, I kind of made that into this gradient. The circle kind of being in the center is similar to Notes on Infinity or Flashlight. And so oftentimes that's just what I'm doing. I'm setting up 5 or 6 covers that I think hit the tone that I'm going for, and I'm taking pieces from all of them and throwing them into Photoshop and seeing where I land. And hopefully it's different and not something that has been made before, but when you go back to this, like these covers, these 3 on the right are pretty much identical. Like nothing is new. The client can always say, hey, this looks too close to a book that's out right now. Don't worry about that. Just make something that looks good. The client can always give you feedback. That's kind of all there is. These are really simple designs. The light leak is doing the heavy lifting here, where I'm just playing with blend modes.
Now, when you say the client, are you
Mm-hmm.
working with the author, or are you working with somebody on the author's behalf? Like, is there somebody in between you and like a project manager or something?
I would say art director and editor are probably the people I work with the most.
Mm-hmm.
The editor really like knows the book inside and out, and I'm often not talking to the author until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll send the editor 12, or in this case, we made 4 books. I'll send them these 4 books. The editor will look at them and say, like, let's send this one. Let's send this one to the author, see what they think. And then, so the author only gets involved when there's a direction that's chosen, typically. And that kind of works with most publishers. Self-publishers, when I work directly with the author, that can get tricky because it's nice to have a middleman who kind of filters taste. Like, sometimes authors have really great taste and sometimes they don't. And
Yeah.
they want something where you're like, what are you talking about?
They
This
just
looks
don't
terrible."
understand the market.
The market, yeah. So it's really nice to have a middleman, like an art director or marketing or an editor, to kind of buffer that experience for you, and filter the information, and it gives understanding to the author, like, oh, I trust these people, they know what they're doing. There's someone named Alex Zepeda. Their last name...
Axel, yeah.
Axel. I often get told that I think my last name is like the Spanish version of that.
Okay.
Anyways, that just caught my eye randomly.
Maybe a relative in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of who I'm working with when I'm sending these.
So when you are sending these, this is going to be kind of a weird question, but you'll understand. Is this purely digital, or is there a point when you do a hard proof? Maybe you could talk about that.
So I visited Penguin 3 months ago because I work remotely, and my art director, they have like the full print setup. It's not like official but it's good enough to where we can see it in the real size. It's in color. It's somewhat accurate to what the actual colors would be. He prints out everything, which I really appreciate. Like if I had access to a printer like that, it would help me so much with my designs. Maybe I should just buy one. But being able to see it in print when you're looking at it, it's almost like when you write an essay and you print it out and then you see all your spelling mistakes.
Yeah,
you know, like it helps so much to get to that point in the process. And which is also why, like, before I send off designs, I usually wait a day or two and give my eyes a break from them and then revisit them. And any mistake will become glaringly obvious to you, which I really enjoy. Like, looking at this today, the orange text is kind of hurting my eyes. I might brighten that. I might darken the back blue. Little things like that don't really come to me naturally, like immediately. I usually need to give a few minutes or, like a day to come back to it.
Yeah, I agree. I never send something like, I never finish it and, send it off, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really love that about my job, that I get the time to do that. And I usually have like 2 to 3 weeks, or in freelance, I'm usually requesting that time because I know that my eyes need a break and I want to send them the best possible version of what I'm doing. And if I rush and just send them something right after I finish, it's not gonna be great.
All right, we're gonna take this last question from Andy, and then we'll start to do a wrap up. Is original illustration common for book covers at big publishers?
It's for larger publishers, it's definitely an option. Like, we're often budgeting for stock photos or paying like private photographers or artists. Like, one of the books I did recently is called Boy from the North Country, and I found this painting on Pinterest, and I reached out to the artist and I was like, hey, would you be interested in having us license this? And so I think there's a lot of tips I can give to people who do illustration. I wonder if Andy's asking me original illustration as in like, do I draw, or like as in an illustrator who draws, do we pay them for a commission? Which it's more or less the same question. But it is pretty common, I would say, especially like with, I would say, romance and fantasy and sci-fi. Like, a lot of that is being custom made. There's a great person that I talk with or follow and have talked with. Her name's Michaela Alcano. I'll say, I don't know how to say her last name. Michaela Alcano, I'll say that for now. She does a great job about talking about her experience illustrating for books, and doing that from scratch, working with publishers, what it's like to go through rounds of revisions, how much detail you put into your first round versus your last round, like waiting till things are approved before you put 10 hours of work into an illustration. I see this question about accessibility. I usually don't mess with that until the very, very end. Usually I'm designing just what appeals to me, and then if accessibility becomes an issue, like, someone will point it out to me. But it's just, I find it to be like a block to me. I'd like to not have a block like that when I'm designing, at least starting out. And then if I notice that, like, maybe this one is tricky with accessibility because it's kind of making my eyes jiggle, It has that effect. So the people printing this, the people in charge of that will take care of telling me if accessibility is an issue. But I'm always aware of that. And sometimes I'll say, hey, might be tricky to print. I know the legibility is a concern. Like, what would you recommend? Is there anything you have in mind that could help this out? Then it gets everyone involved, and it feels like you're making a decision together, which I think editors and art directors appreciate.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, I think we are at time. Thank you so much, Elijah, for sharing your process with us.
Thank you.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, Easy Book Design. Those are my initials. That's where you can find me in all the places. Or go to a bookstore and check out maybe
Just
Look at
go
the
look at
back
his stuff
flap.
on the shelf. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll be right back.
We're gonna be doing some vector to video graphics. So I make board games. And I've got a board game content channel as well called The Nerdy Soul, where I do shoes and board game reviews. So this is my logo. What I really would like is for us to create a brand palette with this as well. Purple's in there, and then we've got the white, obviously. And that's good enough for me right now. All right, so I'm gonna ungroup this so that we have this guy separate. And so again, because we have this cool feature in the library, I'm just gonna drag each one of these in. And I'm basically recreating this logo in Express. What I want is to create just a little title card for when I have the content channel. And so let's just do a little bit of a background color. How about we make just some straight up elements, some shapes, and then let's do a copy paste. Maybe we'll do the light. We'll come in here, we'll center that, and then let's just give it the same sort of slide in. Okay, so we have that kind of come in like that. I think that'll be pretty neat, and then we'll have it fade out. This point, we'll have this one do an out. We'll have it slide, and we'll end outside of the page. And so we want this to kind of come in and grow, and then let's have this come in probably around here. Great, and then obviously these other ones are gonna be animating afterwards. After that, I'd like this one to come in, so we'll put that there, and our pop is happening. And so cool, we've got this, and then boom, boom, it'll hop in right there. I'm really liking
This
that
is inspiring
flow.
me to do so much more with animation, like on Express, like
Yeah.
because I really don't utilize it as much as I can or should.
Yeah, I mean, animation in Express is really, really great. You know, it's so accessible, like I say, and this is just using things that are already built, drag into the library, bring it in, animate a logo. And this is really great to build out client portfolios too, or it pitches, like pitching for
that's
a
what
client.
I use it all the time for pitching.
Yeah, that's always the hardest thing for us, is like being able to show our client how the logo lives and breathes. And so this is something that we're trying to bring in, is we can do a little animation of the logo, and it's really tangible, because motion graphics are big right now, you know, so if you need it to be a little bit shorter, okay, we're at the 1 second mark, 2 second, boom, we've got that going in, we're out.
Cool.
And we're in it to win it. This is really great to be able to come into Express, show a little bit of how we can do some animation. We can outro all of these. And so again, if you wanted to save this, you just go and you download it. It saves into all your different files. So yeah, appreciate y'all being here. We'll be back with more Adobe Live.
Woo! See you soon.
See ya.
Hello again.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're here again with Jack. So
Yes.
really excited to dive into a little bit more of some of the illustrations, right, that we were talking about before stream.
Yeah, we're gonna be. So last time
figure
we
it
were
out.
working on in InDesign, we're gonna be taking that content into Adobe Express. So we're really traveling today. If you joined us for our last stream with Elijah, Elijah was talking about how somebody asked about motion graphics, in regards to book covers, but this is going to be very kind of like piggybacking off of that. So we're going to be taking some of the stuff that we made for this poster, and we're going to be making social graphics, and we'll take a look at some animation, things that are gonna this client could potentially use on their social media. I think, were we talking about this beforehand?
What's that?
Or did I mention this on stream? How it could be like, if you imagine this is a museum client, for example, and this is like an educational part of their exhibit, they might pull pieces and parts of this out, or like use information that they maybe didn't incorporate. Like I've got all this copy here, right? We'll use pieces and parts of this to kind of market or like talk about this topic a bit more on social media.
Yeah, that's good. So we can kind of expand that illustration more into the social aspects.
Yeah, we've got all
and
this
still
stuff.
pull from here. Yeah, because there's a lot that we can use.
Maximize. We got all these assets. We can continue to kind of use them as we go along. So,
Okay.
Also, let me just kind of do a little intro again myself, if you don't know.
Yes.
For some of you joining for the
Let
first
us
time.
know.
This is typically my work. I think y'all know me in the chat. I'm a moderator on Adobe Live, usually on the other side of things. But I also do a lot of illustration work, graphic design work, branding. I live stream on the weekends on Twitch, so if you want to come hang out, if you go back and watch the replays on Twitch and on my YouTube, you can actually see how we made this art.
Nice.
Because we did that the past couple of days. So this is where we ended up. You can see I did a little bit of cleanup. I do want to kind of point out a couple of things. The transparency. I know everybody wanted transparency. So I did a blending mode. I was like, how can we do this and add some transparency to this without changing the colors of the wave? So I just put a blending mode on the text to kind of achieve a similar kind of result, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my decision there. And then I just kind of cleaned everything up.
Yeah.
But to start us off on this journey over to Express, I'm going to show you how to use the translate function. So again, we're talking about the textbook industry. First of all, if you go to Adobe Express, and I'll just make this bigger, make this large, and you choose start from your content, you can actually pick the file that you want to start with. And you can hit open, it's going to convert that file for you. It's
Okay, so that's an InDesign file going into this right now.
Yeah, there's actually
Interesting.
an option in InDesign. If I hop back over there, right in InDesign now, there's an export to Adobe Express.
Oh, wow,
You
it's
can just
got its own
push
button.
right
Wow.
to it. I was having some trouble with this just like taking a long time. So I did preload it in here for us.
Okay.
I think because of the blending mode on the text, I don't think you can have blending modes on text in Express. So I was trying to fix that because I was like a ocean acidification - Express file. I was trying to get it fixed. But what I wanted to show here is we've got our poster, and we can use the translate feature in Adobe Express, and we can actually translate this because this comes in as live text from InDesign. So this is the InDesign file that we brought in, even with those text boxes that we created.
Yeah.
The text is still editable, so we can go in here and we can choose all of these different languages.
Is that the same too for our equation, our math?
Yes
no?
and no.
Okay.
So it's not going to impact the equation because of the math ML. This becomes basically vector assets.
Okay, so it
it's
becomes
like
just outlined. Okay.
But you wouldn't be really translating that anyways because those math symbols are like universal
Oh, I guess
symbols.
it's just like to edit it. Could you edit that or no?
No, I'd have to go
Okay.
back into
Okay.
InDesign to edit
No,
that.
that's just good
So
to know. Yeah.
It shouldn't really make a difference for this because those would stay the same in other languages. But it is something to kind of be aware of. So I picked a bunch of these. You can pick as many as you want, and I'm just going to hit translate, and it's going to take a minute. And I'll make these on separate pages. So now, that worked well.
Wow.
I had some trouble with the loading it in, but now you can see all of this, all the text that we put in here, all these text boxes and everything. Obviously, I would need to make some adjustments, like our subtitle placement.
But I mean, it did a lot of work for you, which is nice.
Oh yeah, this would have taken forever. And I wanted to bring it back to the textbook world because we were talking a little bit about like specialty printing and everything. I don't know what I did in my screen. Let's reload it. I get accidentally zoomed in a little bit. There we go. The way you used to have to do this previously in like textbook land, you would do a special spot color for like annotations. So you would, if you had like a teacher edition of a book, you would have like a pure cyan, and you would name it like annotations, so that when it was on press, they would know to like strip that out, so those annotations wouldn't come through. But they would also do that with like other languages. So like they would use they would use a black spot color, and they would actually do the translation like on press. So they would swap out, they would pull that spot color out and replace the text. It was a wild process. And it was not always the easiest thing in the world to set up if you had a lot of art that was like legacy that didn't have that spot color in it. You have to like go in and edit it all right so you can see.
Okay.
That would become a problem. But yeah, even...
Whoa, look at that. It really... This
is Japanese.
Yeah. I can't read it, but I know those symbols. Wow, that's really cool. I mean...
Yeah, you would want to go in and like fix some of this stuff, but...
Yeah. I didn't know you could do that.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
And it's a great use case, too, because you talk about if it was some sort of museum campaign, that's usually global. Typically, it's like want to bring people to this event or this area. Yeah, that's such an easy way to promote it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I know what happened there. I don't know what language this one is, but... Korean, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Anyways, so that was the first thing I wanted to show, is how you can take this into Express and translate and get, your design in all these different languages, which is really cool, first of all. But what we're going to mostly focus on is going to be on the marketing side of things. So if we go back home, you can see our design down there. You can see where I was trying to get it to load. I'm going to start from scratch. So you can start from a template, or you can just go over here and pick the social media sizes you want to work with. I'm going to, start with Instagram, since it's pretty common. And it does have the new extra long.
Oh, yeah?
Long boy format, which we could try. I don't know how well it would, work for something like this, but to start, we'll go with just an Instagram.
Yeah, let's ease our way there.
So now you can see when I open it up, it's going to give me the file, the size, and it's going to give me some templates. But I'm going to head over actually, and this is where our library is going to come into handy, because we've got all of this stuff kind of split out already. We can start to assemble all of this into some designs. So if we take a look back at our copy, let's kind of think about what we want to focus on here. So this is a graph about like the pH of the ocean over time. So we're starting kind of like in the 1980s here. We're about 8.11 is where we start, where it's recorded at, and then we are at 8.05. Let me test my knowledge. Yeah, look at that, 8.11, and then 2021. 8.05, and then projected to be 7.8 kind of at the end. So we can kind of look and see what we've got here in our assets and decide what kind of things make sense for talking about this. I feel like maybe in the city here. I don't know, actually.
So
I kind of think maybe a gradient.
So we would
Color gradient.
We would have to rebuild our poster again, right?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't build the whole poster for something like this.
Just pieces.
I would probably just grab certain elements here. So like, here we go. I have an idea. Let's grab just like let's grab this. We'll grab like some of the background elements here, and we could put our, and then we'll put like a green over top. So you can see I've got kind of like the ocean floor here, split out. And let's scale it up. Put it along the bottom here, frame our design, and we can keep going. It doesn't have to be like super small. We can have these maybe like animate in.
Yeah, that is the best part about Express is the subtle animations you can add, and they make it so much easier.
It doesn't have to be exactly the same as it was on the poster. We're just using these because we kind of we have them, and they're a good like starting point.
Yeah, that could be cool. Kind of little parallax, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Is have a little bit of animation.
I kind of like that layer in the darker layer in the back.
Well, we can leave it. We can leave it like that for now. I just wanted to pull a little bit of that in. And then we're going to go to, let's see. I'll decide if I want to add the coral in, I guess. Let's focus on like the most important things.
Well, we were saying the messaging. Do we know, should we think about the messaging first and then see what elements we should keep in there?
Yeah, we'll do the, we'll add in the graph.
Okay, so we're going to use a graph on this.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to do, for the first one here, since we have the nice, oh my gosh, this is still loading. We have the nice the graph, and we have some copy about it. And this is something that might be too detailed to put in like the poster, right? It's a little bit more like niche. This would be like a good spot illustration to accompany that. This could also be used for like if you were in an exhibit as like a, you know, like a one-off sign instead of, you know, a larger poster kind of a thing. So let's actually go in and grab one of our line charts here. I don't think that it's necessarily... All right, we'll add the... I don't know if I want to add an X and a Y axis, but we'll go with it for now. And then I can also use my fonts here that we used from our poster. So we can go in and grab our national park. Do a medium in this case. You can specify the color. So if we wanted to grab, this is from my library.
I was going to say all the previous stuff, right?
Our colors. Let's go with like...
That looks nice.
Light blue.
Yeah.
And now we can go in here and we can put in like the specific values. I don't know that I want to put all of these in since it's not really necessary to tell the story. I think we just go 1985, this value, and then maybe we do projected. And we could do like a little dividing line.
Yeah.
1985, let's see. And we'll do...
Yeah, I think as long as we can see those larger changes, especially for something social media, like you said, it's going to be kind of small. And if that's like seeing it on the fly, so we just want to get that impact, right?
Exactly. So now we'll go here, we'll go 8.11. 8.05, and then it's whatever the projected.
Simple. I mean, that's a pretty good interface for it.
Yeah, this is really, if you've ever worked with like the graphing tool in like Illustrator, you know that it can be a little bit hard to like visualize.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is like it's very like immediate.
It feels one-to-one to me. Like,
when you're typing those values in, things are happening, you know.
And you could see just where you were typing it, that little like interface is very clean and easy.
Definitely. Let me make sure that I've got, those are my fonts. If you wanted to know. National Park, and then
those are great. I love that one.
This is so cool. I think I do believe I saw this from File New, and credit to Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that one after this. I like it.
7.
Okay, so you were saying how many are we thinking? Different points?
I think we're just gonna do
3.
Yeah. Oh, it looks a little
Can we
sad,
zoom in maybe, or can you like, I don't know, just to get more impact of change?
Yeah, let me look and see what settings we have. I wish there's a way to like have this 1985 to 2021 be larger.
Yeah, I feel like there should be, right? A way to, on the left axis, just crop in there and just make those larger gaps.
Let's look at our settings. We don't really have many settings for the actual position. No, that's not it. Well, I mean, we could literally crop it, but that's cropping the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which we don't really want to do. I don't think we need the...
Because we almost just need, what, 4, 6, and 8. That scale.
Maybe we try a different graph. What if we do like a...
It's a great chance to look at them all. I'm curious to what we could do to translate this. I mean, is it?
Under the donut chart makes a lot of sense. What I mean, we could always just
Is
use
that all of them? Let's see.
just the UL.
Because I feel like it's gonna be
Ooh, man.
hard to translate just at a glance. That's all I'm thinking of.
No, for sure.
Is there a way to change our value to? Right now, it's like 0 to what, 10?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering is why it's going from.
I wonder if
such
we could
extreme-
set it to just whatever we want range.
Well, we could. Yeah. Doesn't appear to be a way to specify. It's fine. What if we
Okay.
just do something like this? Can we expand this? Can I edit this now? Nope. No, it's fine.
It's
Oh,
we're,
no.
we're learning on the fly. This is good. This is real world. This is how I would have to figure it out.
Yeah,
too.
Corey's asking, does it have to go down to 0? I guess.
I feel like I think it might be there, but we don't know for sure. But with that said, for right now, we can at least stop on that one and let's see what else we can develop around it. Because we got the information. That's the information we want graph-wise.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, we
curious
could dedefinitely do like a. Let's go to the media. No, where am I going?
Or you think maybe we should put more points?
Um,
See, like
well,
maybe put the
actually-
extremes.
We do have the
Is that?
extremes. Maybe there's like a third point we could put between 1985 and 2021 that would make it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better. Let's see. Let's go with. Looks like 2005, 8.08. So we might be able to go in the middle there. Alright, let's take a look. Let's add another item.
Okay.
Can we move it? Move row above. Move row above. And we'll do 8.8. Only 2025. Or no, 2015. 2005? Is that what I said?
Yeah, that's better. It gives me more indication that we're plotting points.
Yeah, I'm just not sure why it went up. Oh, 8.08. Oh, that was my bad. 8.08. It's tough because the like you said, it's not giving me the option to set like the scale. I would want this to have a
huge.
range of like 8 and 7 so that we
Yeah.
would get more of an extreme dip. And it doesn't seem like I can expand this out or like edit it, the starting and end points. So, oh my gosh. We can always pick a different graph and statistic as well.
Which one are you thinking? Because I saw that you have the pH chart down there. I'm not sure what that's.
A drop in pH. This would be helpful ancillary information. A drop in pH from one value, like 1 point, is 10 times more acidic.
Wow, so that does sound very important to our chart. You think there's a way to putting that in there, or is it maybe too much? Just graphically, I'm thinking.
We could do like what are those called? Where you have like the two spots, right? Where you have like a circle and then you show a circle that's 10 times as large.
Oh, yeah,
and you,
yeah.
And you put like a note about that. I've done that before, so maybe we'll do something like that. Let's put this off to the side for now, because I think we'll still use that. But let's do. Let me see. I think I want to just do that manually. So let's go not charts and graphs. Let's go to elements, maybe. Yeah, shapes. So I'm gonna grab a circle, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. So you start with like 2, and then inside of the circle we can put like 10 times.
So would that be kind of like a magnifying?
Yeah,
glass?
kind of like a magnify.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
what we're showing. So we can show that we can put that little bit of information.
Those are
and
fun.
We can say that this is, we say like it's 10 times as
Yeah, and you know what too? That'll help us with the layout of that little chart.
Yeah.
Because we could have that being the little portion that it is, but these little call outs, that's really what we want to know, right? Like, what are these big changes?
Right.
Even though they look subtle on that chart. I think that's actually a really good way of getting the hierarchy right.
I don't want that to be. I want that to be lowercase. I'm wondering if we put that whole, let's see how much type we have. Let me just copy and paste. And then we'll go back over here to our copy. I think small changes have big impact. We might actually be able to use that in like larger type too, to kind of tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we want all of this type. So let's kind of figure out what we want to talk about here.
I bet, what if you just do more acidic and then you just have overarching a drop in pH from one number? Because that's going to talk about to each point, right? Isn't that going to be the same? Does that make sense?
I do know what you're saying.
Might work. Just thinking about how we can get that type down.
Yeah.
And I think that gives us a reason to enlarge more acidic, because that seems important to me.
Yeah, we might, let's see. I might do the dynamic type here in the text layouts. Let's see, dynamic type. And put this on 2 lines. And then make this.
Yeah, that's a good call out.
And then let's scale this down, maybe. Let's see. I'm gonna group these and then we'll align them.
Could even change the color of one of those lines to white, maybe?
Yeah, I do think that we.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this type. And what do we think? Or should we do the opposite? I thought maybe the white type would be less apparent.
I know, it really contrasts, maybe different, maybe opposite.
Yeah.
Because that white really pops.
It does. So I do think it needs to be the opposite. All right. I'm ignoring the chat. How are you doing?
We're good. We're talking about the graph and the values. We haven't figured out how to change those numbers from 0 to where we're going. If we could crop in, I think that's ideal. But we're finding a solution a different way.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, right? Like
problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that white on top of the black looks like it reads. Yeah, that's really nice.
All right, and then do we add the lines or do we just leave it kind of as it is? I don't know that we need lines.
Can you do a cone? Like a triangle?
Yeah. That's
Maybe
what I mean. If there were like the lines coming off. I'm not sure. We might be able to do a triangle. Let's look and see what we got. We got all kinds of shapes.
Yeah, I think I always like the triangle ones, but it's just a preference. What do you like? You just do a simple line, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would just probably take a line and start it from here. Bring it up here. I think we're talking about the same thing in different terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I see where you're going. If you're gonna duplicate that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think of it as like a colon, but no, I think that's like a really cool way to do it. And then sometimes I'll even put like a gradient, or not a gradient, but an opacity on that. It's like it's zoom out. It's like those textbooks we were talking about. Like you're the expert on those. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's me a call out.
Cool.
All right, yeah. I think that's good. We'll group all of this together. Whoop. There we go. Group. We're going to put this right now. And then we have to figure out a way to incorporate this back in. Let's bring this down here. We got to add our other text. Let's make sure we keep it consistent. And grab, what was that text that we had in here?
Is it the one that's highlighted?
No,
or?
That was 10 times more acidic. I'm looking for here we go. Oh, maybe we don't need, well, we should.
What you thinking?
We don't have any more, like, context. So, I feel like we need to add back in, like, the date the
Okay.
starting dates and the
Okay.
ending dates. Although maybe we can find a way to kind of like make a DIY graph. Let's see. Let's maybe grab a, oh, 2 lines. Nope. And then Corey's saying, what if we stretch it? I'm afraid that's going to stretch the type. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's stretching it.
Let's see. Can we like really pull this out? It starts to get weird because
Is it growing? I can't tell if it's getting bigger. Is it?
it is a little
Oh.
bit. Maybe we can exaggerate it a little bit. But now I'm like, I have this huge thing. You know, this huge shape. But it is a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna put this.
We have a couple comments in the chat talking about maybe move the decimals. I don't know.
Like make them like 800.
Yeah, possibly it's, we
Alright,
just
we'll try
keep the
this.
same same amount of change, but it could just be for a different amount.
I don't know if that would make a difference. You think it will?
I don't know. I'm not sure. We're
It did make a difference. It's the same graph.
yeah. It just makes the numbers larger on the left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're having the trouble.
It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Well, now I've done it.
We lost
Now
it.
I've done it. I'm trying to
Um,
just stretch it a little bit.
Could we not just keep making those call outs from, if we keep that chart in the center and we just make the call outs further away? Because isn't the 10 times more going to be one of those points?
Yeah, I'm wondering how we can put the dates, or if we need the dates. Like I'm wondering if you at least put like a.
Maybe it's a headline.
Okay. Then just have
Maybe?
the text.
Yeah, maybe.
And not have that.
Because, we're thinking back on where it's going to be. It's going to be on a phone. I don't feel like most people are going to
Right. I
check
don't want
the
to put.
facts.
That's why I don't want to put so much stuff. On
Yeah,
this.
I think as long as we show change, I think that's seems to be what's important to me, right? It's like if we could show the change and we could show why that matters. I think that's
Now I'm wondering
what
if I should
matters to
do
me.
this vertical instead. Like have the.
oh yeah, it gives us we have more real estate up there.
Like rotate this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's ungroup this. It's making me crazy. Why am I using my?
You don't have your mouse?
I'm in my mouse. It's fine. We're doing fine. Let's ungroup this again. I just want to select these lines without selecting the group, and then we'll rotate it. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah. Okay. And then that's gonna. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Can we? While you're making that, I'm just gonna see what the chat's up to, but it seems like we're still trying to figure out the graph
fine.
with 0. It's okay, chat. We'll
I
have
feel
to
like
spend
we've
some time.
resolved it for now. I think that the graph's a new feature, like relatively new. So if ultimately you did want to do something like that, like I said, you can use Illustrator's.
Graphing functions, yeah. And you can do in Illustrator what we're talking about, right? I haven't tried that.
Yeah, like a line graph.
Well,
And starting from a different value.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. I
Okay.
just I was hoping to not hop into.
yeah, I think it's great that we're focusing on Express because if anything, we're showing that it's there. We're talking about a very specific use case, anyways, where we need to have those variables. But I think that reads.
I think this works. I don't think we really need any.
I think we can make it work, and then, and you're thinking, is that the only call out though, or are we thinking more?
For this, no, I think that this makes sense. I'm gonna add the type to talk about what's going on. Where is it? This.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably shorten this though. I'm gonna copy this, and I'm just gonna like select bits of information. I don't think we need. This is a little bit wordy, in my opinion. There's a rewrite in Express too, if you wanted to.
Tell me about that. So what's a rewrite? It's gonna.
Where is it?
It's right there. It's hovered.
Where is it? Oh yeah. So if you wanted to, like, if we had this and we wanted to shorten it, you can use
No
Firefly
way.
to shorten your text too. I don't know how well it will do with like.
With this type of information.
Right, but we'll see.
That's cool though. I didn't know it was there. That's a great. You showed really two things that's like game changing. The fact that you can do the translation. That's crazy. That's cool. And then the
That's
second
actually
is
worked
this.
really well. It like shortened it by half.
Wow. Okay. Let's see.
We
It's
don't
still
need
a
this.
lot, but I mean, can we cut down more?
We
Is
probably
that still?
can.
Does that
Let's
still
see.
make sense
Let's
to you?
just do it again. Why not?
It's just
shorten it
one
again.
word. It's like doomed.
No, look at Ocean pH dropped from
Okay.
8.11 in 1985 to 8.05.
Okay.
Projected at. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Either one.
Let's
I
see
think
how
any
that
one of
looks.
these.
Let's see if that changes a line. That still looks about the same, word-wise.
Let's try this one.
Yeah, it's cleaned up the lines.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe there's something we could do with turning it into kind of a hybrid of a infograph. I don't know. Maybe it's like ocean pH fell from big bubble 8.11. Maybe I'm getting too Illustrator focused.
No, it's okay. I'm
Um,
thinking about the same thing.
yeah.
We could add an arrow. Do something with an arrow.
Hey, what if I like a gradient arrow going down above that type? See what I'm saying? It's
I
talking
can see what
about.
you're saying. Because then it's also balancing the right side with the left
Yeah.
side. I don't know. Let's see what kind of.
And it's
arrows.
talking about falling.
Perfect. This is teamwork today.
Yeah.
guys. I don't. I might need to bring an arrow in from. Let's see what options we have.
Wait, I thought you had one oh there we go. That's all we need.
I don't
Something
know.
just
We
chunk-
don't have the same level of arrowheads that we
Oh.
had in InDesign, so we might need to find a good.
Does it change the arrows if you from importing from InDesign? Or it would just make it a shape, I guess.
Yeah, it would make it.
I think this is fine. I think it's just to show the consistency. We need an arrow. Yeah, that little silly woolly doo one.
I think you can copy from. Hold on. I think you can copy from. Well, you'd have to copy from Illustrator.
I guess if you
can
just do
copy
a normal.
vector shapes. So let's maybe do just like a regular arrow. In here. I want you to show me the options. There we go. Let's do like 80.
Show me the options.
And let's do. Why is it round?
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
That's weird.
Let's see what happens when we change the endpoint. Maybe it's a little glitch there.
Let me look at my appearance panel. Let's see if there's anything on there. Okay, it's weird. That's
Oh.
weird.
Yeah, that's funny.
Let's add an arrowhead and see what happens.
You could add an arrowhead, outline it, and then just crop off that roundness.
Nothing happened when I had an arrowhead. All right, let me clear appearance on this and try again.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it didn't
So let's
do
go
it.
to our appearance
Okay.
panel and then we'll do a clear appearance. Oh, it's got okay, there we go. It's got a, see that? It's got like a brush on it. That's why
Oh,
it wasn't
wow.
working.
Yep. There you go.
All right, that is enormous. We don't want that size arrowhead. Thank you very much. All right.
We're figuring it out. Hey, at least we found out it was just a weird setting in there.
Yeah. Let me just test this before you go any further. I'm 90% sure I've done this before.
I'm guessing you were
copy.
saying like copy paste it in.
Yeah. There we go.
And what does that become? Is that just like a JPEG or something? Or
No,
PNG?
I think it's I feel like it's an SVG when it brings it
Oh.
in. There are vector shapes in Express.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are SVGs. All right, I should have made this a different color though, shouldn't I? Well, I guess actually.
You know, we could look back at let's look back at your color palette. Let's see
We've
what
got some-
colors we're not using.
Reds in there that we haven't used.
it would really call that piece out if you did go red.
Yeah. Let's see.
Might work.
Let me look at our swatches. The reds were mostly for the molecules, but they also work for like
okay.
pH. So we'll go with that. Let's go with the. Let's see how that looks. I don't know if the contrast will work, but we'll try it. It might work. It might be too close to the blue.
It's a nice red.
It is a nice red. Let's see. I'm only concerned about it being close to the.
Yeah, the contrast could be a little weird.
But we do have a dark red. As well.
Perfect. I think that should do it.
All right. There we go. You guys, if we only get this one done, it's okay. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, I think. Well, we're only halfway on time, so we're fine with time. But I think if anything, if we can get to a point where we can get the information to really sell what we're trying to get across, and then. Was there another big feature you wanted to get in there before we?
Well, I want to get into some animation
Okay.
because this is for social. I feel like having some stuff animated.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think if there was another one that I really wanted to use as a graphic. Oh, you know what? I thought it would be fun to do this one because this is
What's
a
that
more
one?
positive. I wanted to do something positive because there's a lot of very negatives. And this is about how the sea kelp and the eelgrass can help to mitigate the carbon. They absorb a lot of carbon to kind of help. So I thought it would be cool to do something like that one. But I don't know if we're going to be able to. We'll see.
Ooh, maybe there's a fun way to have white text underneath the dark green at the bottom, and that will just be like a nice little headline that says the green in the bottom of the sea is what helps.
Yeah, maybe we can combine them all into one. Yeah.
But I see what you're going. I like where we're heading. How do you feel about that red? I don't know if that red's working for
I don't know
you
if
now.
the red is working, and also like it's a problem with like the contrast.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to. Why don't we do like a really light blue? I think we have like a really light blue, like this light blue, or maybe this color, and we'll just pull
what that
back
looks
the
like.
tint on it.
What is that? Is that more like a dark or a
It's
weird
like
green?
this color. Yeah, it's like a weird
Oh, that seems like a gray green.
gray green. Uh-huh.
I don't know. But I feel like some shape, look, we're trying to figure out would be nice to just bring a call to action over to that information.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Let's paste this in. This is the last one. There we go. It's a little close still. We'll see. If only you had the arrow that I wanted. Then we wouldn't have to be fighting with it. All right, yeah, it's
We
like.
could, what if we
close.
change the opacity?
Yeah, that's actually probably a better idea.
Yeah. There you go. We're enough for now
Yeah,
with these
that's fine.
arrows.
Yeah, I don't want to spend all the time on it. And then we're going to talk about, I think this goes here. Put this under this information. Actually.
Let's see if we can full screen, just so we can
Oh, yeah,
zoom
that
in
was
real
my
quick.
bad.
Because it's like it's really fun to see how you're bringing in this information to tell this story, but you're making those critical thinking moments happen, such as really streamlining the text. We've already worked some of the features that, what was it called, that helps rewrite. Yeah, rewrite is a really great feature to streamline some of this, get our word count down.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get it. I want it to like fit into like this space. It's like one word too long. Here, let's get rid of from. I think that'll work. And then we'll pull this arrow. Then we can pull all of this down. And it feels a little bit more all together. Yeah, no?
Were we gonna keep the background white? Is that what you're thinking?
We don't have to. Originally, what I was thinking for this one is we would show a transition. We would use like a gradient to show like the pH change, like blue to red or something. But I feel like that's probably going to be too much now, especially since we got all of this. I don't want to distract.
Yeah.
We could put like a solid color in there. I feel like a solid color would be the right choice.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it because it might have to change. Might have to change some text colors around.
But what if we do like the, again, what if we do like the, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I have to minimize that again. The lighter color like I was mentioning before. Like this.
Mm-hmm.
Light blue. We'll see how this looks. Why am I doing this? It's already in Express. Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I keep thinking that like, yeah. All right, let's go to my stuff. Actually, I don't even think I need to do that. I think I just need to grab a square. Elements, shapes. Here we go. Oh, you know what?
What?
Just need to go to background color. Mess.
It's okay. We're figuring it out.
All right, and then we'll go to custom.
I like that.
Just make it a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, just something so it's not stark white.
For sure. We could also play with the transparency on these.
Yeah, I was for sure thinking for that parallax
Yeah.
or whatever we do with animation, I think that would look so good. Just to see things kind of moving as we're getting to the information.
All right, I'm feeling good about that. Let me group all of this information together as a single group so we can, oh no. No, you didn't group it that. All right, there
It's
we go.
it's that little
giant graph.
chart.
Yeah. I really wish for it to fit in here.
Oh, what if you
like,
move?
pull everything up?
Yeah, I was gonna say go up and then give us that dark space to really have another call out because that
And
dark space would be
we
great.
can fill this with that fill
Yep.
color to
I think
extend
that
it.
I think that's gonna be great because you mentioned something that was really what sounds really important to me is the positivity, which is the kelp, and I think by demonstrating that in the bottom of the green area, it's a really good callback.
I can't tell what I did there. I figured it out. All right, so yeah, now we've got like a extended, and I do have some additional like individual plants. So we could also, if we need something else, like put them in there. I don't know. Let's see how it looks once we get the type in.
Yeah, I think we can work with this. This is already looking a lot better.
And let's see. Let's grab our text. Let's throw it down here. Let's make it white so we can see it.
Mm-hmm. That's the big one too.
You know, we're talking a little bit about accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, with living on screens and colors and resolutions look different for everyone, you have to have the good contrast.
For sure. Adobe Color has really good. Do you use Adobe Color's accessibility checker?
No.
Oh my gosh, we might have to take a detour. I
Yeah.
know we're like,
Well, if we want to see the animation,
Yeah, we
let's see
might
the
have to,
animation,
yeah.
then we can jump to that. Because I really want to see you bring this to life with animation.
I don't want to do another scale.
I think can we get away with just a really bold headline?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that down, and then I'm gonna make this text larger.
Yeah. Because I think that's the biggest takeaway, right? Is that how you see the hierarchy?
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
I feel like we need to have a positive.
I think that's what, if you're looking through this, scrolling, and you see that first, and then you're going to learn something up above.
If we wanted, like I said, if we wanted to, we could also add that little bit of, I don't know if I'm going to like this.
What's that?
A little bit of the grass.
Oh, yeah.
But we'd have to go into like effects and we'd have to color. I don't know. That's not what I want. Where is it? Duotone? There we go. We have to do like a duotone on this and do like white and white. Or something.
To get it to where it's a negative color?
Yeah,
Or
just kind of to
negative
have.
space. Yeah.
I don't know if this works. It's an idea.
Well,
that you
it calls
could
out the
kind of,
kelp.
like-
I think the only thing, it feels a little repetitive being underneath the other one.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe flip it.
Let's do this. Let's put one over here, and then maybe we can do this, the eelgrass, which is this like spindly one.
Oh, that's one we're not using. Yeah.
That's
That's
we
a good
should
one.
probably put it in there since
Yeah.
it's actually what we're talking about.
Well, it's a good add in there.
And let's scale it back down. Rotate. I don't know. Maybe no. Maybe it doesn't work.
Kind of hard to read.
Yeah.
But I think the kelp. I mean, what if you put that one up here, like towards that?
This guy?
That lighter green. Maybe it lives up there somewhere.
All right, let's do.
I don't know if you can change those pieces. I'm making more problems.
No, it's fine. We're figuring it out. It's. I also have this one. Maybe this fits better. This shape. Since it's longer.
Yeah. Ooh, what if you flipped it and put it on the right side?
All right, let's do that. Hold on. Edit. Position.
Mm-hmm.
Flip.
I think that might be a way to kind of underline the text.
Yeah. Does it matter if you see the whole thing? Can it be kind of off screen? Oh my gosh. Selecting everything except for one. Like.
Let's see what you're thinking. What if you go larger? Like if you're gonna bring it off screen, if you go.
So I mean, if I go off screen, I could. It doesn't matter if you see the whole thing, or is it enough just to reference it? I think that works. All right.
Okay. All right.
Animation.
We're gonna animate this thing.
15 minutes.
All right, let's see it.
So I'm gonna hop over here to animation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a couple things we could do. We could do an animate all. I don't know that I'm gonna love that, but we can take a look and see how that looks.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I was
Not
thinking
bad.
for the bottom. Is like if we have the bottom kind of animate up like that.
Yeah, I think. What if
we might have to group these?
Okay.
I think that's what we need to do. So let's grab this. I'm gonna group these two, and then they should animate together. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, like, I'm just talking out loud with some ideas. I was curious if you could animate those two right. Yeah, I mean, kind of like that. I see that one's kind of going up. I was wondering if it was from the left and right, but I like what you got.
It's going up. I wonder. Wonder if we just do it ourselves, not using animate all, so we have a little bit more control over the animation.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that feature's there. Animate all if it does work for the project, but maybe not this one.
So let's do a rise, and I'm gonna do another rise, and then we can offset them.
Okay.
So we'll do a rise, and so now you can see I've got each one of these shows like where they start.
Yeah.
So I can just kind of take this second. Well, this will be the second one, and I'll just drag it back.
I'm on your timeline.
See? Is that what you were thinking?
All right, let's see it again.
It's a little slow.
It's subtle.
Too slow?
Yeah, maybe a little too slow.
All right, let's see. Can I edit the settings on this to speed it up?
Because I almost feel like if you can get those darker shapes moving faster, and then the text can kind of be a little more subtle with the animation in.
Wow, it didn't update both of them. Let's go over here and do one.
I like where it's heading though. It's still.
You can also change
fun.
the direction if you want to, as well as the like how. This is more like easing, I think, but they're like they give them like personality traits.
Yeah. Come on, this kelp's got personality.
All right, let's try this. I feel like maybe I'm doing this the opposite of what I want. Maybe this needs to animate in first, and then this needs to come in second. But then you end up with a weird gap. So maybe let's not do that.
Yeah, let's get the closest one there, so we can kind of present our type immediately.
Yeah.
And then that back, maybe the back needs to kind of come up a little higher. I don't know. So you can see that little heel.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an easy fix. We can just go in here and move this up. That's also gonna
and that helps us with the space and more contrast. I think that's cool.
All right,
I like how the arrow is pointing to the kelp and the vegetation and
stuff.
stuff.
All right, I like that. That looks good. And then let's do for this. How do we want to have this animate on?
Let's see our options. What do we got?
We've got like the
Like a
you can
fade.
hover over them. Yeah, that
that's
like
too
writes
slow
it
to
on.
me.
That's no. There's also a like more traditional.
Maybe it just
typewriter.
fades in. I don't know. Or jumps or one of those. Maybe
Let's
that's
do a
too
pop.
fun. What's the pop?
Pop.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. No,
And then we can
that's good.
also time it too. So like we want to have it. We don't want to have it start until probably at least here.
Yeah.
See what that looks like.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit more. So there we go.
Just a little. Yeah. It's like just before that first piece stops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. And then we have these other pieces. So what are we thinking for?
Well, I'm thinking like because we want to call attention to this, maybe we do a little like sway on this. Let's see what we got in terms of options. Is it not wobble? Have you seen wobble?
What's a waffle?
It like
Hey, that looks like it. That's pretty good.
except it like flies over. Like I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, we could try from the other side. Let's see.
Wait, what if?
there we go.
Yeah, that looks like grass now. Nice work.
But yeah, we probably
I like that.
move it over a little bit, but maybe have it come on after.
It at least draws attention to it. Like, what is that? It's like, oh, it looks like a little piece of grass. It's just waving.
I actually think that's been like the most successful use case I've had for the wobble.
I
Most
know
of the
you-
time it's very silly, but this
You
actually works really
undersold
well.
it. It's something. It's perfect for kelp.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got the information above it, which I think we could do something really fun with these.
Animation-wise,
Yeah, because I feel like for sure the arrow. I almost see the arrow kind of
arrow
coming
coming down. Yeah.
and then maybe the plots on that point graph. Maybe the line graph is just appears. I don't know, like something like that.
Let's have it drop down first. Let's focus on
Mm-hmm.
that first. Do we want like a fade and drop or just a drop?
I think it dropped from the top.
There's like a drop or there's like a fade and drop.
Oh,
Let's just do
that
a
one's
drop.
slow. Yeah,
And then
drop it.
Let's see. Energetic. Loud.
It's loud. There's no difference.
They don't look like they're very different. No.
Well, they're the same.
All right, and then
Okay.
I also want to see what it looks like. Let's kind of go back and see.
Yeah.
In terms of timing, when we want it to come in.
I was gonna ask, when do we want to call out that point? Right? Is that a secondary or a first for you?
I think it's secondary.
Secondary. So all right. So maybe it's
Pull
one
it
of the
back.
last things.
Yeah.
And then that type would appear with it, right?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to do that. Let's see. Let me orient myself here.
Maybe you could just group those, right?
We could group them.
And then it's just the same animation. I could see that working.
All right, let's try this. No, we want this type, and where are you?
How's the chat doing? Any thoughts on animating in Adobe Express? How many of us are using that? That's something that I feel like I should use more, but I'm not gonna lie. You know how I do most of my animation? It's the hardest way. I try Adobe Premiere, After Effects, and it takes forever. But this is such a easier way for social media, especially this type of content.
There we go. All right, I think we've got it
All
now.
right. Playthrough. Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we could even move it a little bit more. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so we're gonna animate that last little bit too, right?
This guy?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that. Let me just
because we're
group
getting
it all.
close to time, and I really want to see the final playback. That's gonna be fun.
I think this should also pop, or should be. Ooh, how about grow? Grow?
Let's see what it does. Oh yeah.
You have to speed it up though.
Instead
Instead of soft,
we
let's
might
go
have to
energy.
group it with the
Oh, yeah.
call out lines.
Let's do that.
But I think that one could work. That actually makes sense.
Let's zoom in. So we...
Oh man, it just gave us trouble last time. Can't grab them.
Oh no, what have I done? I think I zoomed out on my.
Okay.
Oh no, I didn't. Okay, what have I done? Let's reload Express. Hold on. coming up
And
on
it saves
time.
automatically.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry
Good.
about that. Oh my gosh. What happened to my
We were so
Express
close. Oh no.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I just needed to zoom out.
We got Ray in the chat. Greetings from London, England. How about that?
Okay, and let's go to edit timeline. Welcome in, Ray. All right, we've got a group. Gotta group all this.
All right.
I'm gonna try
Getting
not
down
to
to the minutes.
touch everything in here.
Yeah, we did a lot more
All right.
customization with the animation. I think it's actually the better move here.
There we go.
That's actually
Got
really
it.
nice.
Got it. We
Yep.
did it. 4 seconds. Move it out. Move it out towards the. All right. Let's just preview it.
Okay.
Whole thing. Ready? 3, 2,
Let's
1.
go. This is it. Nice.
All right.
That's
pretty good.
cool,
Yeah.
man. I like that. It's really cool. And honestly, that was 30 minutes. Really? You know, we're getting all these assets in here. I think we had more trouble with just a graph. And
Yeah.
everything
the graph
else was so simple.
troublemaker.
Yeah.
You can. I feel like the donut graphs and stuff like that are really cool
Mm-hmm.
though, and you can animate those, which is really nice. So.
Nice work. I love the animation. I think that really sells it, but also an extension on what we did earlier in other
Right.
streams.
This is all the same stuff that we. So like all these assets can be reused to make like different little bits.
Yeah.
For.
Because if you didn't watch the earlier streams, you know, you were creating a lot of things in Illustrator and then reassembling them and creating them again in InDesign. So we're using all these programs together to have a really fun package of deliverables.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice work. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. That was such a great walkthrough, Jack. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was,
Anywhere you want to do a shout out or your work? or-
Just jackwatson.design.
There you
You can find the links to all my places, all the places I be on social media.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. My name
Thank
is
you,
Tyler
Tyler.
Pate, and thanks for watching. We'll
Yep.
catch you at the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.